Hello everyone, welcome back to Spar and Brawl. I hope you're having a decent day. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Sam. We're back with a new episode of The Progressive World. So as always, you can find timestamps down below and please like and subscribe. Okay, so here's a quick rundown of today's show, Sam. Just a few of our favorite stories, but I think it's quite packed today. We have a lot of good stuff. So since the last time, sorry for cutting you off there. So since the last time that we spoke about Hate Inc., I actually went and read a few chapters of it. Like not every single chapter, but quite a few. So we're going to talk about this. I really look forward to that. Then, man, I love this. Did you love this?
I want Aaron Maté to do prank calls from now on. Just solely devote themselves to calling, like, is this the American government? Are you there? Are you there, Joe Biden? Joe Biden, why did you call me? Why did you call me a Syrian stooge without any evidence? Can you tell me that? Can you tell me that, Joe Biden? Can you tell me? I hope come on, Max.
Man, it was so good.
Come on, Max, use your dad connection, buddy. Like, give him a full, like, I'm sure Sydney Blumenthal has phone number of all these people. Just have Aaron Maté do live shows of calling. Okay, we are now calling Rand Paul now. Mr. Paul.
Seriously, that could be a show. Huh? It's not a bad idea.
That could be a fucking amazing. That could be, I don't know,
if they pick up their phone calls.
Phone jack.
But that might come. Okay, you have to really target high-level people that way for it to not come bad. Because here it comes up good, of course, because that guy wrote an article about him without contacting him. But maybe if you started just doing that to anyone, people would be like, okay. What do you think? It will be going too far? They have to be high-level politicians, and it's not like the answer.
I'm not just putting an idea out there. I'm giving you a step-by-step. Max Paul, Aaron Maté's partner and in business and all that. His father is Sydney Blumenthal. He has all their private number. He can do a Borat style. You know, he shouldn't do it live.
They should get their producers
over. They record like over 3 months. So that way nobody can, alert the other ones. They just call different senators and Congress people, cabinet members. And they have they should call Syrian government members as well. They should include them. Hello?
No, but they speak.
Yahi, this is Aaron. I've called about the cylinders. You know the cylinder? Yeah, the fake cylinders. Of course, you good answer. Good answer. Fake.
Oh my god, but this call is too good. We're gonna listen to
we're gonna talk about
pretty much all of it. No, I have the video. We have to listen to a bit of it. It's too good.
All right.
And the guy keeps on, he's like, I have a meeting, I gotta go.
Yeah, I have to dash. Oopsie
daisy. All right, then we'll talk about Dave Chappelle forced to change venues. I think there's an interesting story in here.
Yeah, aren't you going to talk about the bad faith full debate before?
True. I just didn't put that to tease. And we have the second part of the bad faith debate featuring Kim Iversen. Now we actually have the video. So we're going to watch a bit of that and then talk about this as well. Then we also have the actual full Katie Halper video. So for anybody who saw our episode from yesterday, please go check that out from the four corners of geopolitics. We really get into what they're saying, both at a superficial level. I mean, it's not superficial how terrible the level of discussion was. Really. And then we really get into the actual topic itself as much as we can, and we might revisit some of them here. And finally, this story, which I don't know much about, Sam, but it sounds very interesting. So something about Miriam Margolyes versus Arnold Schwarzenegger smells funny. So this involves Arnold. And anything to say about it?
Well, Arnold, I like as an actor and stuff, but not as a person. Okay. But Miriam Margolyes, or I don't know how to pronounce it, is one of my favorite English comedians. But it's quite a good story, this one, I found.
Wait. You don't like Arnold?
As a person, I think he seems he's a Republican. He He's off. Like he sounds like an awful person. Like he cheated on his wife.
That's nothing. No. I would like to push back. Compared to other
That's
people
nothing?
in that kind of circle
I
and
like
world, he's a
you're
good person.
And this is being
Sam,
recorded.
context matters. I'm not Arnold. I'm not the governor of California, am I?
No, he's so weird because whenever he talks, I kind of like him. He's one of those Republicans that but
is he still Republican though? Didn't he at least move to Democrats?
No, he's always been a very, very
but
left. He's a California
he's more left than than Democrats.
He's a California. He's pro. No, it's just from what I understood, like I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was famously gropey with women.
I actually haven't heard that.
No.
Are you making it up? Are you throwing around false accusations?
No, it's in this article. I swear they talk about
The Guardian. So now you're pointing to the Guardian as evidence.
now that I am back to the corner, the Guardian is a very good reference point. I have always enjoyed their.
You have one argument that's always left, and that's the children. You can just say the children.
Yeah, children. Yes, the children.
Damn it.
Yes.
Okay.
To be fair, Arnold was horrible to his stepson, from what I understand. Anyway, but I would add that it is true that whenever he talked about cheating on his wife on Graham Norton's show, and the way he apologized and said it, he's such a weirdly, because and his movies are so, like, especially his movies in 80s and 90s are so anti-establishment. And then and he's been like, he literally came from a village in Austria and he went on to conquer California. So it's just he's an inspiration in some ways, but I don't know.
And he tries to be vegan.
Does he?
Yeah, that's where he gets some of his good, rep these days.
Oh, I had no idea he tries to be vegan, but he's not vegan.
Like, I mean, he's always talking about the benefit of like a vegan diet and like showing like vegan meals or smoothies that he's having, but I don't think he's ever said that, I'm able to be always vegan. Yeah, you know what I mean? Gray zone. Middle ground. Okay, all right, let's move on to our chit chat. Starting with a comment by Bobby, actually. So we're gonna get right into it, Sam. It's no joke. We're going straight to Hegel here.
All right.
So based on our video where we read an article where Zizek argues something I never understood, but others did. Anyway, it had a quote in it, "We need a stronger NATO."
Well, so he argues the left should fight Russia just like they fought America on Iraq, and everybody in Europe should stand up for it. It's a wish list, really. It's
perhaps.
Like what Tooth Fairy, I would like independent Europe.
Perhaps. But that's not relevant here anyway. So Bobby wrote, what your subscribers really want to know is what the hell Sam's mean by Hegelian, since he uses the term so often. Some of us have a surface knowledge of Hegelian thought, but how exactly is the heretic using the term peace? So one thing first, Sam.
Oh, I'm the heretic? I like that.
So
I like that term.
I don't know much about Hegel either, but my understanding is that you've made Hegel synonymous with just non-comprehensive writing and things like that.
No, and then I feel I went beyond.
Is that too?
I think at first that was my take. Over the course of our Frankfurt series and actually reading Hegel, I understand now what is he. I mean, look, I still find him, for me, is incomprehensible. I don't get it, most of his writing at all. But the people who wrote commentary explain to me like what he means is, I think he's very, it's kind of like if Kant was trying to come up with a humanist rationality for morality, kind of Hegelian thinking. Hegelian thinking is, I guess what I mean is idealistic thinking, that believes that we are on a history is viewed as a progressive movement towards the more substantive or a better state of being for humans and for the state, as in government. So I would say Hegelian in its progressive way of thinking, right?
Okay.
It's very much, I think, idealistic, and it's very akin to religious thinking, as in, this, and it's the idea that discussion and thought, ideas, I mean, famously Marx puts that upside down, saying that it's material conditions that drive history, not ideas. But in Hegel, it's pretty much like, it's not, I'm being extremely reductive with Hegel. I'm not.
Of course.
But I'm just so what I mean is idealistic thinking that believes in discussion as a way forward, discussion, communication, whatever you want to call it. And it believes in a progressive.
No, okay, I got you there. All right. So I just said that, the article is not relevant, but actually now I changed my mind. Given your response here, it is relevant. So why was it that while we were reading this article, did you say, it's Hegelian so much? Was he being too idealistic and seeing the world as like progressive and going like on a, like getting better and better? Like, so why were you using it kind of in this,
with this article
so much?
Were
you just in a bad mood?
I was using it because I enjoy insulting people. Truly, I mean, to be completely honest, it had nothing. I had just watched he had a debate with Terry Pickard on how to read Hegel. So it was on my mind, and I was like, okay. And I don't like him right now. He's supporting the NATO. So what can I throw at him? Okay, motherfucker is a Hegelian. But so. I don't want to, that's not too...
Should Twitter ban that word? I don't know. I might Twitter ban Hegelian. It's cause
Sam is single-handedly turning Hegelian into a slur. But let's not
targeting Zizek with it.
Sometimes reading, bits like you don't have to read between the words too much with me, especially. There is just nothing there. But I would add in the article, what you see with Hegelians, in my view, which it's just.
And sorry, so he likes Hegel.
He likes Hegel. Yeah. Well, he's very, he likes. I think if you look at his works, and again, his works are difficult.
Yeah.
I've read very little, but from what I understand, he's a sort of a Marxist Hegelian, sort of like prefers early Marx works, and then he's also very much into Lacan, so that type of thing. But I would say in the article you see the Hegelian obsession with ideals rather than reality on ground. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, okay, the left should stand up to all the injustices in the world, but is this like which left? Who are you talking on? I mean, he's talking about European left specifically, I guess, or I mean, it's again, I think it's morality, it's ethics, I've realized recently, like that's why I like loathe some of old philosophy, because it's just, I hate like ethics. I really don't care about your views on ethics. I'm uninterested of the views of old like men, usually slave owners writing 500 years ago about like what ethics is, and Hegelians, in my view, there's a lot of obsession with morality and ethics and idealism.
I think
so.
I see. I mean, from his article, I didn't even
sure this show has sort of pivoted to a character attack on Hegel. What a piece of shit.
He's not alive to defend himself.
Well, he did defend the Persian state, according to some. So
there's a reason for you to like him.
Yeah, but I was just using it because I was looking as a way to insult Zizek. Really.
I mean, if in his article he was saying, in the way that I understood, he was saying we should stand up for Russia and Ukraine, or the way that he was necessarily framing it and all that. So I don't even know if I agree there or his solution to it. So, but I don't really recall what he was saying, so I shouldn't say anything.
He didn't offer a solution. His solution was
but it starts off, but we need a stronger NATO. I mean, how many ways can you read in the sub-headline? We need a stronger NATO. I think I'm a bit too fixated on that because I don't know if he further does. I don't know. Let's move on from this. We want to just discuss the Hegelian term.
I guess, and Europeans see NATO. You could see NATO as a more of a cooperative. I don't know. I mean, look.
But that wasn't the point there.
Yeah, whenever I use terms when I'm attacking people, it doesn't matter. I'm just, I'm just being insulted. Like I don't mean anything by them. I just mean to demean and attack and throw shade.
So public announcement, if Sam is saying like Hegelian or something, it's like someone else saying like, your mom.
Yeah. I mean, look, exactly. I'm like, you've seen how I usually like suddenly I fucking hate philosophy. A whole profession, I throw them under the bus. Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. So how was your week in general?
I always get,
Anything
the usual
special.
What did I do?
Did you go to did you go to one of those, what were they called? Did you go and rent a DVD? Did you go and rent this Nicolas Cage DVD?
No, I did not go to a supermarket and was waiting in line, and then there was a box filled with fucking $1. Like, please take these DVDs for free. Just take them. We don't have the storage, please. And they were all Bruce Willis and Nicolas Cage.
All of some together.
Yeah, some of them are true. No, most of those movies can't afford two good actors. So, yeah. So man, I was being visited with my dad, and he was watching TV, one of NBC, one of these,
Oh, it was on that.
It was on NBC. Yeah.
Stop.
NBC, I swear to God. And
NBC probably has exclusive ownership television rights to this. They probably show it 3 times a week.
I swear, of all the DVD, straight to DVD Nicolas Cage.
This movie is #1 in the Middle East for the past 2 years.
It's been playing it, man. And man, I mean, I think you can tell by the poster on the DVD of what kind of movie we are talking. But yes, before
I think they just took this from a previous Nicolas Cage movie. They were like, okay, no need to do photo shooting here. Just
that's a good point.
What was your question? Sorry.
No, what do you think is the movie about?
Okay. This isn't his daughter, no? No.
Well, I don't.
Is this guy holding a dog? No. No. Okay, This is gangster.
Oh, wait. Sorry, my headphones.
Okay, sorry about that, but yeah. So I didn't cheat during this interruption, but I think I know what it's about. I got the plot down. Hold on, I'll tell you.
All right.
It's
zoom though.
Zoom further.
I just want to see if that's the girl on the picture. I wanted to. Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell. I
can see who's in it. Who's in the movie?
All right, but go ahead. No. I know who. I can't tell which girl it is. Do you think it's this one?
No.
Well, it could be this one.
Or
there
Sophie
were 2 girls. They looked very much alike. So.
No, I think it's this one. But okay,
anyways,
so
but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
so
I think it's like a crime related one in terms of like gangsters who sell like a lot of drugs, kind of that, and he's like, why would be like, and they'll be like Russians or something, and then okay, why would he be involved in the fight against them?
Nicolas Cage person. It's a fact, the camera, right?
But yeah, what is it about?
Well, I'm sorry for you, like, to be having a show with such a shallow person who, I mean, you look at this movie and you think gangsters and no, I'm sorry. This movie is about corruption in Afghanistan war.
What?
It's about, I'm swear, it's about bullying in high school. It's about black crime, like, white, black, tensions in American society. It's about inequality, and it's about cancer. It's about police, like
Wow.
being, yeah, it's so, man, I like like this, like the director's ambition in this movie was like the moon, the level of like budget and like infrastructure was like like we can go to the next city maybe if the car doesn't break down. Not moon. So the movie 2-1, I don't know, because I didn't finish this movie, by the way. I promise I finish it for next week, but I had like I couldn't take it anymore. But it starts in Afghanistan. It starts with like they try to, I call this a very Nolan-y open, when they open a movie with a very action, there's not much dialogue, very action scene. And they're in Afghanistan. They're in Afghanistan, which is looking a lot like a parking in Nevada. I'm just saying, it's like surprisingly, Afghanistan is just not looking like Afghanistan at all. And and the movie must be some European production bullshit, because I swear to God, some of the people are dubbed, like they're English. Some people, especially the parts they're shoot, I think it's shot in somewhere like, I think it's like in Italy or something, to be honest. There is some where they show in Afghanistan where the streets are very narrow, and the buildings are quite tall and bricky. It doesn't look like, again, it doesn't look anything like Afghanistan.
Maybe
And
like Tunisia or somewhere, like Algeria, Tunisia.
maybe North Africa, Southern Europe, somewhere like that. And then, man, some of the people, I'm pretty sure their English is dubbed, is not like, I mean, I
sometimes
think so,
these crappy movies, these straight to DVD movies, they seem like that.
Maybe it's been post like
or like just the quality is not as good, so it just comes off this way.
That's true. Like in professional movies, they always dub the movie in the post again. Like that they don't do on recording always. But in this one, they may have fucked it up, but it was so bad. So, and then if you're in Afghanistan and there is clearly a bad, you're not told a bad guy, but he's so clearly a bad guy that it's laughable that there's an Afghani lady on the computer, and the computer is clearly from 1990s. Like they had a cousin who had something in his garage, and you can use that, guys, it's okay. Like it's a Dell, and it's like transferring, and then the money is being transferred from somewhere to, I don't know, and she's going, and then the bad guy is just walking behind, as you do when somebody's doing your bank transfer, you walk behind them and go, you smile like a fucking cartoon villain and go, like I mean, it's ridiculous. Jesus. And then they're like getting out of the building, so the money's out, let's get out. And there's a bunch of cars, and there's Afghani people with guns and shit. And then guess who shows up? Not Nicolas Cage. But bunch of operators. You can see the main one just below Nicolas Cage, looking the other side. They show up, and they kill everybody. They kill everybody in 2 minutes. And then the bad guy is running away with his driver, and his driver just goes straight into a sort of a tractor or something. Like the driver sucks. The driver dies. Then the bad guy is, comes out, the main bad guy, and and the operators are like, you thought maybe these are good guys, they're stopping this bad guy, but no, they are the bad guys. They're like, where is where is the money we stole? And we don't know who they stole it from or whatever. And he's like, oh, I transferred it to many different banks in America, many small different banks in many small, and this is important, listen to this. I've transferred it to many different small banks in many small deposits. And they're like what? And he's like, what? There is Winchester, Ohio, something, I don't know. And they're like, okay, tell us, you have to give us the information. And he's like, just take me to a hospital and I give you the information. And they're like, we could do it that way or the hard way. And then they just kill the guy. They kill the guy. Kill the guy. And you're like, okay, we can do it this way or the hard way. And you're like, okay, what is going to be the hard way? Let's find out. Then we are cut back to that, whatever, Massachusetts, Winchester, whatever, Ohio or Idaho, whatever the guy mentioned, the bad guy mentioned. And guess what it is? It's a small town, community-based town in America. And then there is a...
What's a community-based town?
It's the town, okay? Don't try to read. It's a community, but it's people in this community. Everybody's connected. It's the Kevin Bacon rules. Everybody's connected to each other. And I'll tell you how. So first we are introduced to this black kid who's in the bathroom saying, nobody likes me. And he's got to beat, by the way, he's got to beat, because I think if you're black and young, it's part of the law that you have to have headphones of some kind attached to your body in Hollywood movies. But anyway, and he's saying, nobody loves me. Then 3 white kids show up.
Watch out, your microphone, just move it for a second. It's just making a bit of...
Sorry. Let me, maybe now it should be better.
Perfect, yeah? Sorry.
All right. So this black kid is in the bathroom saying, nobody, it's recording it for like personal journal, I assume. Nobody likes me, everybody blah. And then 3 white kids.
Oh my God, no.
And then these 3 white kids start bullying him and putting his head in a urinal. And frankly, I have not seen, I know, it's very friendly. It's so badly done that you're not scared. It's like, I'm a bully. Put your head in a urinal. And the black guy, oh no, my head is, and it's the cleanest urinal you've ever seen. So you don't feel bad at all. What you do feel is that one of the white kids is like definitely an emo. And it's just the 3, like one of them is recording this, which I'm sure by the end of the movie that recording will come into play. Because,
for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, they look like like that black kid should have beaten the shit out of all 3 of them, like immediately. Like, I don't know how he's been bullied by these losers, but whatever. So, and then as soon as he gets his head out of the urinal and punches the white kid to unconsciousness, as soon as that happens, a school teacher walks into the urinal for some reason, and he's like, what have you done? And guess what his name is, man? Daryl. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you don't, every black guy like Daryl. That's like, yeah. Anyway. But then it's like, Daryl, what have you done? What have you done? And then we cut to Daryl's mom being in a school office. And man, the acting here was just unbelievable. The school principal is like, in our school, we have a policy to report abuse. And your child like punched another child. And the mother is like, well, his face was put down in a urinal. And the teacher is like, we don't have any evidence such as video of that as of yet, kind of like hinting, okay, the other kid is gonna come out. So it is suggested for his sake to learn something, he should do a ride along with a cop as a sort of like, so he learns respectability from, as we all know, like, especially in light of Uvalde cop videos coming out, it is just so funny that, yeah, he's gonna ride with a cop and learn courage. And like,
so the cop is Nicolas Cage.
Of course, the cop is. He's not just Nicolas Cage. He's also, you find, then it is cut to another lady. And I forgot to mention, in Afghanistan, this was a whole thing. In Afghanistan, like right after the whole killing and stuff, somebody's called in to investigate, and she's called in just about, there's this CIA agent, she's called in and she gets into a car and she's like, you bastards, I will kill you if this is just another fucking training call or something, because I was just about to catch the biggest Asian smuggler of antiquities in the whole of Asia. And you're like, couldn't you just, if that guy, and the guy was like this really shady looking, like Italian looking motherfucker in Afghanistan, like smoking cigars with a hat, and just call, like, he's so obvious, just send somebody else to catch him. It feels weird. But she was like, yeah, don't, like, why are you and they're like, you should come here. There is a killing. And she's like the best CIA agent. She's like awesome, and she's flirty, but she's like being flirty, so she puts men on their back foot, and it's unbelievably just shit.
Nice.
Anyway,
All right, let's fast
now,
forward though a bit. We're doing
fast
like
forward,
play by play of every scene.
I know. This is the last one. Now we are introduced to another lady in this community-based town. In this community-based town, and you understand now why it's a community-based town. This lady is like writing a letter or telling her husband some shit. I don't know. No, yeah, telling her husband some shit. That, guess what, honey? And this is morning, and she's doing this. Guess what, honey? Guess what?
She's pregnant.
Yes, she's pregnant. Yeah, I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh, and he's a cop too. And he's like, oh my God, honey, I love you. Oh, we're gonna call him like Mike. And she's like, oh, you're such an idiot. And that's what she. And then he's like, honey, we have to tell your father. And she's like, I don't know if I want him to be part of his life, her life. He never could deal with the loss of my mother. It was months of pain and cancer and treatment and financial, they're trying to cover all American issues possible. And then at this point where, it's, cut to images of Nicolas Cage sitting in his room with his dyed black hair and like a bottle of whiskey, and then the voice of the girl, my father could not deal with the pain, he pushed everybody away. So
he's the father.
He's the father, and he's the cop that the black kid is with. And then then the Nicolas Cage is riding with the black kid. It's the next day. Guess who is his partner? His daughter's husband. So the level of connectivity. Then you find out the black kid's mother works in the hospital, and then the operators have now come to this town, in this small town. And according to, again, I remind you, the bad guy said I've put them in many different small banks in a small deposits. So their plan is they're gonna do bank robbing, and in like, I guess they're gonna go town to town and collect like just $2,000 by $2,000 collect, because the whole money, by the way, they're after is $1 million, which is like, come on, man, like $1 million, like the amount of guns they have. I'm sure if they sell those guns, they will get more than like $1 million. So I don't know, the whole operation financially doesn't add up to me. But then so they're robbing this bank that Nicolas Cage is, because they do this trick and all the cops are drawn to somewhere else. But Nicolas Cage and this black kid and the kid's husband, they're all smart, and they see a van and they're like, oh, all that. So they are fighting against these cops. And I guess through this fight, they're going to overcome their own personal issues in their own real life. I imagine because they scene where Nicolas Cage the black kid tells him, I was bullied, that's why I punched them. And then Nicolas Cage is like, well, kid, you're not sure as hell are not going to be bullied today. So I assume by the end of the day, they're going to have a scene with the operators, and the black kid is not going to be bullied today. And then, so I can't wait for part 2, but it has all the great, it's just too good.
Yeah. No,
how do you feel about this?
It sounds
covering
like a fun movie.
Highest school. No, it's the issues it's covering. Afghanistan, corruption.
Very deep. I'm sure everybody will pick up on all of these, but hey, it's true, they're there. Bullying
another issue it's covering, it just came to my mind, the lowering, I don't know if you heard about the lowering of the testosterone in men and stuff. So the whole baby part is, if you're cop and courageous, not as you get older, just recently there have been studies apparently that a sperm count in men is going down. Men's ability to I guess impregnate or
really, I've never heard of that.
What is exactly we doing this whole pregnancy? So
I've never heard of that.
They're covering that, like Elon Musk was saying, by having 50 kids, I'm helping the population problem.
I mean, I think that might be his Most
Only
productive
real.
project. No. And his kids will probably, because the chancellor grew up hating him, so maybe that will
One
turn
of
them
them
in.
has already. One of them has
Already?
distanced. Yeah, one of them is already publicly has distanced herself or himself, because I believe he or her have had they changed their sex. They're I don't know which way.
Yeah. And he can. Okay, so I mean, yeah. Should use that hate for some good, maybe.
He has like 15 kids. I'm not kidding. He has like,
no, I think no, it's like 5 or something.
No, it's 8. I swear to God, it's 8-ish. Because he just had twins, so that may have like really fucked up with this, data. Elon Musk's children.
10 children.
10, Jesus. All right, Steve, like we are doing really substantive stuff here. How many uncles?
Wait, are the banks give him like loans and stuff taking this into consideration? These 10 kids must cost a lot of money. I'll be like, so how much do you pay per month to each of these kids? Okay. All right. So if you remove your Tesla shares, you have no money.
We're not gonna go ahead with that loan, to be honest.
Yeah, Twitter, forget about Twitter, buddy.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe this whole Tesla stuff is being funded through welfare. Like he gets checks from welfare because he has so many. He's welfare supported. Like 6. Like, that's how he's funding his whole project.
Man, he has 10 kids.
Look, man. I mean, look, look, this is a personal thing, but my grandfather's father had 12 kids, and my grandfather was
he doesn't have
upset.
a family though.
Oh,
like,
that's well.
Like I mean, in the sense that like
he has a modern.
No, like in the sense that like I think with some of these people, he just sleeps with them and then he has kids and then he moves on, right? Like maybe
I know,
like
but those kids and him are a family. But yeah, he doesn't have a traditional. I know. I don't.
He's just going around getting people pregnant.
Yeah, that seems to. And to be fair, those people probably, frankly, if I want to be brutally honest, those people are happy with the arrangement too.
Yeah, perhaps. Like I mean, we're joking. We don't know all the situations, but if some of the situations that I said are true, I mean, to each their own.
No, yeah. But it's just, I would agree with you though. Personally, in my personal life, I would think this is not the best way of like raising probably kids, and but whatever. I guess.
Like, okay, we do have a population problem, but we're still looking for quality people down there. You can't just go around and
we would like some level of upbringing or
parenting.
That would be nice.
Wait, no, you going around.
But then again, what do we know, man? Like,
for sure.
A lot of parents try to make their kids good, and they end up fucking them up.
And for sure, it's a bit just weird. The mother on that side, or maybe the kid with a new family, can of course be more than enough. But yeah, not an ideal model. Let's just put it that way.
It seems it's just logistically hard to pull off. Logistically difficult. It's kind of like all his other projects as well. It sounds like maybe a good idea, but logistically, are you sure about this?
The government puts out like a call for proposals for like, how to increase population. Elon Musk shows up with this. They're like, Elon, we've heard some other proposals.
I'll have sex with all my employees and actresses. Is that's one way we go. I can also have sex with other people, musicians. I can say. I'm just doing my bit. I'm just trying to do my bit. Whatever, man.
You're right, though. I swear, he goes around. He sees traffic issue. He wants to create like exclusive what's it called? Tunnels.
Tunnels.
Yeah. Sure.
Again, just logistically, Elon. It seems hard to scale up. You fucking everybody, and then getting no. It's possible. I can fuck up to 4 times a day. Potent sperm.
I don't go home, so it's just in the office.
I don't really have a home. I stay in other people's house. I can sleep with their wives if you like. Again, very potent sperm. Just one insertion is enough.
That's true, though. He has that on his side. Hey,
I don't know how often he has sex, so I don't know what's the ratio. I don't know if it's a 1-to-1. Every insertion is equivalent to pregnancy.
But I don't know. With 10, I don't know. I think he has a good rate.
Yeah, but it seems to me. It's unless he's had like 10 sex types,
and other people are aware, so other females have sex, and they know that you have to be extra careful when it comes to this guy. So people have their guards up when it comes to that.
He is known among the ladies as Elon the condom breaker. Just his sperm just bursts through like
Elon the Ripper.
Yeah! The Ripper.
They should make a movie just the Ripper.
It doesn't rip through the interaction. It's just the potentness and the pressure of the sperm.
Just goes. But yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, we have to watch this movie together in future.
Take it easy. I don't think so.
Covers so many.
I mean, you just covered the whole movie. I feel like I've seen every scene.
No, I just covered like the first part. There's 2 more parts.
You did a play-by-play on the first part.
The first part I had to do play-by-play because it's set up. But I promise, next 2 parts will be shorter.
All right, Sam, let's talk about Taibbi's book, Hate Inc. again. So last time you had read or listened to a bit of it and I hadn't at all. So now, since then, things have changed a little bit. How far are you into the listening process? Are you pretty much done with the parts that you were interested in, or?
I've got let me tell you, I've got 4 hours left. I'm in chapter 12, so okay. I've got like 4 chapters. Plus, I'm almost done.
So you're listening to the full thing, and I've read like the first few chapters really. So the intro, the note, first 2 chapters, then some random chapters, and then his interview with Chomsky as well. And I don't think you need to read every chapter for it to make sense, because the book is actually a collection of articles that were written. They relate to each other, but yeah. So let's talk. I liked some stuff in it a lot, which I'll be mentioning. Some other things that was less sold, or have just some small criticisms. I'm sure you as well. So should we get into it?
Sure.
So I thought we could start this way. Sorry for cutting you off. I thought we could start this way. I'm just gonna say what I think the book's main argument is, and I copy pasted his words, but he didn't say like this is the main argument, but this is what I think he was saying, the book was saying. So he says that I discovered the Chomsky-Herman diagnosis, and he's referring to, of course, the manufacturing consent book here. He found manufacturing consent to be mostly right, okay? So, I mean, he agrees fully with that book. Moreover, he wrote, the academics prove prescient about future media deceptions like the Iraq War. Their model predicted the hideous episode in Technicolor. So the takeaway here is that manufacturing consent, he gives 2 big thumbs up. But then he goes on to say, but neither Herman nor Chomsky could have known when they published their book in 1988 that the media business was going through profound change. So he nevertheless says that, and I pretty much got that from here. So these are the 3 profound changes that he mentions. I think if we go through these as well, then we can already pretty much start, I think, dissecting it. I think from now on is pretty much fair. So these are the 3 that he says. These sentences that I wrote were just from right before this. One, he says, is the explosion of conservative talk rock and Fox-style news products. Using news products. Talk radio. Oh, I said talk rock. Talk radio and Fox.
That's Hard Rock Cafe.
Right. Using point of view rather than objectivity as commercial strategies. So anyway, one of them is the conservative talk radio and Fox style news products. There is one thing I want to say here is that, okay, fine, they don't they now don't pretend, these ones don't pretend to be necessarily objective because they agree that they're kind of giving their opinion on a take. But it's not like other forms of news media were rather objective, right? In the sense that, you know, maybe the anchor didn't give their take, right? But the editors and, you know, whoever, the producers and all that told them what the news should be, and that's influenced by all kinds of things. So I just want to say this objectivity thing, although things have changed, although now openly in these shows you're giving your opinion, so you're not objective, it's not like the other version is so objective for this difference to be that drastic in some levels. I think, I don't know if you
I know what you mean. Like,
yeah, what do you think of that? Is that unfair?
Look, I think there is something. I feel like the left in general, postmodernism and stuff. If you read Weber is the one of the, I think, first social scientists that talks about like, you know, objectivity and stuff, and how you cannot be fully ever objective as a social scientist. But at the same time, Weber is also saying no, but we have to still try to
attempt. But news medias don't even attempt to be objective.
They used to. It was much more unconsciously, I think, done than it is now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so the government and you know, and news, big news outlets that are close to governments, they didn't know what they were saying when they were like, you know, biased towards other governments and, you know, domestic stakeholders. Of course they did. I think that's ridiculous, making the past of the media seem like these, like, oh, they didn't even know what they were doing.
No, they look. I think especially on national or local issues, let's put aside foreign issues, domestic issues. On domestic issues, right? They were the news people who worked in the news at the time were genuinely, like, for example, they were looking at healthcare and then they were coming up with ideas. They weren't, and then, you know, they would get a stay or not a stay if those ideas were popular. But nowadays it's all I
don't know. I don't believe that. Why would it have been like so like that back in the day?
I think because there was less, I would say, money and commercialization of media.
True. So they could have been more
governmental control. Sorry.
Yeah, they could.
It's like, you know, it's like the difference why in the Europe is slightly less. The news is less polarizing. Polarizing, that's a word that I would actually, no, I mean, my
I don't know, look at DW's coverage, you know, right now of with Russia, Ukraine.
Russia, Ukraine, but look at DW's coverage on domestic issues. Do you think it's the same as CNN?
But perhaps but that could just also be to a large, okay, fine, you can say a lot of it perhaps has to do with the style of media in the US, but maybe it also has to do with the social issues themselves as well too. They are perhaps bigger or more well-known or more rampant or more vocal and all that. You know, the US is also different contextually from those places. So the media also maybe, you know, reflects a lot of the polarization that already exists in society, which Germany maybe has less. And maybe some of those groups are just able to be much more vocal. In the US.
That's what I think. That I think even Maté would agree with that it is because of those. I would but I would say that if you like try to be objective and look at the media landscape in 80s and 90s, and then you look at media landscape in noughts and then 2000s, it is more like, it does feel like people are purposely more, let's say, pandering to an audience or a target. Even look at our own show.
For sure.
Getting a very, very tiny minority.
So, okay, exactly. And I think all of this, and I think I agree with that. And hold on, point 3 brings exactly to that. So actually, let's get to that. So point 2, he actually talks about the introduction of 24-hour cable news stations. Yeah, that's interesting. A different change now that has come, you know, it's 24 hours, although it doesn't come back to this too much.
It shifted the emphasis of news business. Reporters were suddenly trained to value breaking news, something we see now CNN until recently have been utilizing very much. So I think it's I mean, I think
Yeah, that's a good
it's a
one.
reflection of changing commercial scene, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
But again, I mean, I will come back, but my main argument is that just because the news media has always been so bad, that these changes aren't that consequential on the societal level, I think, because news media was already so bad, and a lot
I
of the problems that we
100%
talk
agree with
about existed already, that the impact that some of these changes have had in the style of reporting anything is still not that consequential. But to your other point that you were making, the development of the internet, which was only getting off the ground, so he doesn't even push this far enough, if you ask me, Maté, although he has a really good way of talking about how he has a nice part, I'll say it in the good things I'll mention about how, the targeting happens with social media. But yeah, you're right. I think that is one thing that happened now. Before on TV, they had to pretty much target all of America, right? So they could kind of hate on some groups internally that it was okay, I guess, at a societal level to hate on, very widespread, and then also foreign countries, that's very easy. Then after that, when there were more TV channels and the era he's talking about, talk radio and Fox style news, I think that gave them a new level of targeting. So now you can just target Republicans or people that like the right-wing kind of views and exclude Democrats. And then now with the internet, you can even further target, refine where you reach the level that we are able to target the 3 people who pretty much, like what we say and would watch that.
Out of the 3 people we target, we lose 2. Only 1 is.
But I would just say that right now, so we're just able to more talk to people exist through this visual medium. But before, these differences all existed, and people, newspapers were much more targeted, I'm guessing, at that time. Or perhaps if newspaper weren't, magazines were other forms of print. So, a leftist or blah, blah, could go get their special kind of magazine, or like, find this other place, or like go to talk to their friends even, right? Get their dose of what they like. But yeah, in the TV visual, you can see these changes. And another criticism that I would even give to Matt Taibbi is perhaps he says that he's talking about the media, but it's really focused on the changes with cable TV, really. I think he didn't dive that much into perhaps print media as well, make the arguments.
It's political media, there. Really.
Yeah. So
but
I think now we've put forward his main arguments and this. So from now on, I can challenge a bit more, or the good things, and then you go ahead, tell me.
No, it's just I think I agree with his analysis largely, and I love his narrative about how things happen. It kind of reminded me of Weber's Protestant ethics, because if you look at Protestant ethics because some people view it as an alternative explanation for rise of capitalism to the one that Marx gives, right? That it was more ideologically based. If you see it that way, I disagree. But if you see it as a complement to the materialistic analysis, as okay, this is how materialistic forces shape media, right? But I feel a lot of places Matévi's work goes on to kind of imply at least that the media itself became important in shaping things and politics. And I think that's where in my view, it goes too far, and I don't like it. And,
I mean, he has one. I know exactly. If I only could find where you could. He says, yeah. Where does he say it? Because there's one part he pretty much says people who say that we contributed to Trump's election say, no, how could you have done that? And then his response is like, well, how would you even know that we didn't do that? How would you study that? But then you could also say the same thing to his, like, how do you know that your level of contribution and all that was that high to to Trump getting elected? But
okay,
I don't know how to find it.
I haven't. Well, I think to be honest, it raises the underlying liberal anxiety, which we all share as kind of liberal subjects. but I'll get to that. I have a specific quote from the book.
Okay.
So maybe you want to outline your other.
Yeah, let me say a few
takes.
other a few other things that come of a few other one or two smaller criticisms, and then but there's also the good stuff. But one criticism is that a lot of it, so this book was written in 2019, and a lot of it I think is Trump specific and speaks to, you know, the influence that Trump really had, you know, and how he was covered in the media. So the whole part where he talks about, you know, Trump is the heel and the media covered him as the heel, and, you know, everything went up, you know, profits went up and all this. Yeah, these are all very Trump specific. So, you know, some of the things I just thought were just more related to Trump, and his analysis of Trump was good, but less so about generally the media, you know, very much reserved to Trump, I would say. So that is just that one. And then any other criticism? Okay, so this one, I just want to read this. This is another example that, you know, the media, I feel like with these 3 paragraphs, just the media has always been shitty, and, you know, and it just continues to be shitty. So he wrote, Chomsky and Herman wrote about how the elite reaction to America's military loss in Vietnam was to create a revisionist history that not only steered us away from the reality of American crimes and policy failures, but set the stage for future invasions and occupations. Blah, blah, blah. So the press sheepishly abandoned a lot of its excessive democratic practices. So they were forced already during that time to like change their behavior to press. Right here, in the same way, conventional wisdom of 2016 voters steered attention away from generation of press practices that had degraded the presidential practice. So, you know, it's just the same things I think have been done in the past and are done to the present.
Same thing, but done in a different way.
Slightly different way.
It's the same goals, different tactics.
Of course, with the, you know, current state that we have.
Yeah.
But then, yes, some of the good stuff.
I think your analysis about how cable and then internet allowed for further targeting of more, I think that's, to be honest, the key, really. That's the most, because that's the communicative structure that has changed, really. Like 50 years ago, people didn't have phones, you know, in their pockets, you know. And by the way, let's not forget, more than 100 million people in America don't vote. Like, this is, again, that's, I mean, that gets to my main criticism. So I'll leave that for you.
Okay. And all right. So I have a bit about Chomsky, but we can come back to that later. But some of the good stuff, are you going to talk about the 10 rules of hate? Because he had some funny good ones in there.
Yeah, I have something to read from that, but it's more about the underlying, I think, underlying cause for this book. But what's the Chomsky stuff?
Oh, the Chomsky one is pretty much that. So he interviewed Chomsky, right?
Yeah.
To talk to him about, you know, how things have changed after manufacturing consent. And I think he tried, you know, at first he was just asking Chomsky, you know, how did you write manufacturing consent? How was the process, all this? And then at one point he wanted to move to his thesis of the book. And I feel like Chomsky really didn't, like, you know, bite on it, or like you know, really know where Taibbi wanted to go. So I feel like that interview, it really didn't add anything to Taibbi's
really
pretty much thing, because he doesn't really, you know, support, he doesn't really get into it. And in fact,
I must say,
Chomsky doesn't get into it. And in fact, Chomsky had I need to read where is it?
For sure.
Okay,
Chomsky has a habit of coming off as very, very dismissive, in my view, in his interviews with people, especially about new ideas. And sometimes I love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't love it so much. So it could be just the Chomsky, just a stylistic thing, not, you know what I mean?
Where did I get it from?
Just, if anybody has time, just read the email exchanges between Chomsky and Sam Harris. It's some of the funniest. The Chomsky is so dismissive.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't think.
Yeah, whatever, man. Do whatever you like, man.
Yeah, there we go. But I don't think he behaves that way here.
All right.
Too much. He just doesn't really get, because Taibbi, you know, keeps on trying to how things have changed. You know, a lot of people or fellow reporters have commented to me over the years that you know, things have changed, but he doesn't get to. I mean, I feel like Chomsky doesn't really, you know, talk about that. And in fact, Chomsky says this, for instance, but I think in a lot of ways it's hard to measure. But my impression is that the media are probably more free and open than they were in the 50s and 60s. So I found that
that's definitely true.
So, I mean, there are also some other ways that the media has perhaps gone that we don't talk about, or that this further targeting, I mean, it allows, it allows at least for, niche progressive content to exist perhaps more freely, although I'm not saying that has an impact leading to socialists taking over the United States of America. But in terms of content being available, there are also some positive things, I guess.
No, I mean, I think if you try to be objective, undeniable that it's definitely more free, like in terms of what you can talk about. But is it more concentrated also in terms of finance?
That's something Taibbi doesn't get into. I found interesting. He didn't talk about media concentration.
But that even is a very difficult proposition, because do we count YouTube channels like, I mean, ours is
you look at the big ones. You're right. You're right.
You know what I mean?
Depends
like,
where you're
what
looking
is
at
media landscape anymore?
But among the big ones, in those cases, you can see that it has a lot of them have bought other ones. And
So I mean, no, but in many ways, like it's very difficult to talk about, and as very difficult to measure, as I think Chomsky points out here. No, very interesting.
But I mean, so I didn't love the book. I didn't find it to be that interesting or super
compared to his other books. No,
I haven't read his other books. And this one too, I haven't fully read it. I mean, so if I were to be very harsh, and who the hell am I? Like, look at where I am. But I would give him I think I would give a book like a 6 out of a 10.
All right. Yeah.
Some of the stuff were interesting. Don't get me wrong, but
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly. Maybe I give it a bit more because it's a bit funny. I like the tone, but between 6 to 8, let's say, somewhere.
That makes a bit. What 6? It was a big jump from 6 to 8. Between 6 and 7, if you want.
No,
man, 8's a good book.
So I'll go for 7. Don't haggle with it. So do you want to talk about some of the positive things before I read my
the 10 rules of hate analysis? Are some of my favorites. So I feel like we'll come to that. He also mentioned something else that was actually interesting, but the threat of being sued and having advertisers pull their ads. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary new, but it's been going on forever. But he mentioned some cases, so when they kind of realize more and more that sometimes it's not really worth doing that kind of work, which of course. And then he also, this was absolutely enlightening in general, but in life too. Listen to this about how the media works, and I would say frankly how the world works. And this is the last thing I'll say. American news companies at the time didn't, and still don't, forbid the writing of unpatriotic stories. There are no editors who come blundering in, red pen in hand, wiping out politically dangerous reports in the clumsy manner of Soviet commissars. So I think that's like the best thing. And then he goes on to say, instead, in a process that is almost 100% unconscious, news companies simply avoid promoting dissenting voices. People who are questioners by natures, prodders, pains in the ass, all good qualities in reporting, incidentally, get weeded out by bosses, especially in the bigger companies. This is like everywhere. If you go work at Nike, nobody tells you I always give this shitty example that, don't promote Adidas or don't shit on Adidas and promote, don't shit on Nike and promote Adidas and Reebok here, right? Same thing here, don't shit on the US government for no reason. And don't shit on some big corporations for no reason. Say good stuff about these people as much as possible. And, if you're a person...
that's why I sometimes when the on the left, I know I sound like, sometimes I sound like those right-wingers that are like, why don't you get a real job or something? But it does feel sometimes people have never Like, can you believe it? What was it on Twitter or some organization? They broke into the offices of the managers, broke into the meeting and were protesting Dave Chappelle or something.
Okay.
Do you remember that? We covered that.
For Spotify?
And Spotify, yeah. I think it was Spotify or something. Yeah. I don't remember. But anyway, it was Joe Rogan. Anyway, but they were like, can you believe it? And the managers were able to fire. Like, have you been to real life? Like, seriously, like, and
not that it's good, not that I don't
necessarily good, but
and also I don't want news organizations specifically to be like this. I mean, that's for sure. It's fine if Nike's like that, but it shouldn't be like that for a news organization. Technically, especially like a semi-public big one, perhaps that would be my favorite. That would be my preference. But
if you want to have a company or a project done, at some point somebody has to make decisions, and there has to be some kind of I hate this to say this. I'm reminded of someone I don't like, but there has to be some kind of hierarchy.
Oh yeah, no, not even that. I just meant in a news agency. Sorry, you're okay. Yeah, that I understand. Yeah, decision making. No, sorry. I was just saying that at the news agencies, you wouldn't wish for there to be like, dogmatic ideas that are in people's heads. In Nike, it's okay, right? If so, everybody just thinks Nike's the best. But in news agency, technically, it should be like an open-minded atmosphere.
That's the ideal.
Yeah,
that's the ideal.
Yeah. But it can, and then it can vary on the spectrum. Some places it's better. Some places it's the absolute worst. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, anyways.
Yeah. Al Jazeera, they're probably like there. You probably have the most variety of subjects. They're like everything in Sudan you can cover.
Yeah. Can I talk about? No, shut the fuck up. Okay. It depends.
Mali for sure. Yeah, that one community that no one knows about. Go at it.
Nigerian minority. Of course.
Here's unlimited budget. Take 10 cameramen. Get some nice shots of nature. But yeah, I've done enough talking. That's.
Do you have any more positive things to say about this?
No, the 10 rules of hate, maybe I'll just refer to some of them when you're talking, because some of them were really good. Some of them are really good.
All right. So before that, I think this is the underlying anxiety that led to Taibbi writing this book. This is my argument. And I think it's kind of, this passage is kind of hinted at it, but that's the feeling I got. But okay. So I think the book betrays the anxiety that which increasingly becoming apparent for people, that media and education, frankly, it seems not to matter at all. Like it seems very sort of almost reactionary, perhaps, to say this, but it seems clear that no matter how much people know about other people's stuff, like there is that famous part in, I think it's in Communist Manifesto, that the workers will see the chains of their chains to the to the factory and to each other, and together when as one they can break these chains away. Well, it seems everybody saw the chains and went, okay, how can I use this chain to suffocate the next person to get more chains? Like that seems to have been the reaction. I feel like it's just his whole book is and he mentions that in a part very early on, that it's kind of as a therapy thing. He's working throughout his own problems, and I kind of feel like it's just that media doesn't matter at all. Like, I mean that's my point. But listen,
the book quickly became more confessional than academic study. It's about the invisible pressures of the business I've been in for nearly 30 years now. Commercial media has always been sensationalistic. We're never not encouraged to aim content at your outrage center. We're always eyeball hunting. So first, I think you were more interested in this first sentence, but the other sentences made my point that, it's always kind of been like this, and the differences are in the margins that in a way, in a sense, but yeah.
It's just accelerated. as
Yeah, and
everything
like a
does
different
throughout
way.
time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So
yeah, does the
this
media
part,
not matter at all though? I mean, I would like to
yeah,
push back on that, but maybe I'll come back next week.
no, I genuinely no, it doesn't matter at all.
It depends what matter. What's your definition of
Means
matter? Yeah.
it
We'll
matters
come
a
back.
lot to my personal life. It doesn't matter at a structural level. But listen to this. Unlike Rush Limbaugh, who in his early days was a serviceably witty top 40 disc jockey in Pittsburgh, Hannity was charmless. He was not literate like William Safire or Bill Buckley, nor was he an entertainingly unstable wreck like Glenn Beck, nor could he talk volubly about Marx and other thinkers like Michael Savage, a person who clearly has read more than 3 or 4 books. So then
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we just read the quote, I believe, in its entirety.
oh yeah, sorry about that. I had a bit of a thing, and then I've lost track of what I was saying, so I might repeat myself. But I think okay, this was fascinating to me because Bill Buckley is always somebody who always he's like, his name is a bit of a trigger thing for me. As you know, William Buckley, as we discussed, he had a big debate with Gore Vidal back in the days, and in my view, he's a founder of National Review, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, National Review, yeah, and a lot of other conservative stuff. And he's in many ways architect of the modern America. He won really his war with Gore Vidal, and in many ways, you can see him as the father of everything that has come onwards. Yeah, this is from his famous show. Yeah, National Review. That's the one he found. This his famous show. What was it? It was Crossfire before Crossfire. He would bring in, famously brought in Chomsky among others, and he talked like very much like that. And I don't want to say you're a queer, but if I have to, I have to punch you in the face. Famously said he's gonna punch Gorville. He had more gum than teeth, really, like about 70%. He famously also extremely, I mean, weirdo is just one way of putting it. He was I mean, he was born in Mexico, if I'm not. He had the weirdest mid-Atlantic accent, and I'll get to the real weirdo. The real weirdo part is that this guy always, like William F. Buckley, he was, in my view, and many people could disagree with me, was the most closeted sort of anti-gay homosexual. Like, he was so obviously gay. Like, he was just such a, I mean, look, we are all dandies, especially these days. If you're a middle-class man, you're pretty much a dandy and all that. But it was such a dandy, fancy, like, we used to go swimming with the boys, and I used to slap them on the bottom, and then we used to jump. And there's all these weird anecdote of other conservative writers meeting him and going swimming with him and playing games and splashing water to each other. Like,
we don't do that if we ever go swimming together. Have you invited me?
A cameo.
Spanking each other with towels.
Exactly. Come on, boy.
Run after each other around the pool.
Boy, this is not gay, boy. I'm just, this is just men bonding. There's nothing gay about it. A creep, frankly, a weird creep, probably a CIA agent. He had some involvement with
this
CIA.
picture scared me. That's why it switched back to this.
I mean, I must say, when I was a kid, though, I looked at his picture and I was like, yeah, he looked like a real man. So, you're a kid. But he's...
I mean, he looks better here and stuff. Oh, no. Oh, actually, well, everyone's teeth looked like that back then. There you go.
No, man, he had the biggest, when he's like half of his impression when you're doing his impression is just saying, Robin Williams used to do fantastic impression of him. There's a great SNL sketch with Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy, where it's just the perfect parody of him, because they're talking about a sudden combustion of black men, like sudden explosion of black men, and that was his show. He would bring on some fucking ludicrous, like constant, what do you think? What do you think Christian? Do you think by moving away from Christianity, perhaps we're moving away from God?
All right. So bringing him back to
this is okay.
How Matt Taibbi refers to him. So do you have a problem with the way he goes about talking about him?
So no, not really. But he's comparing all these William Safire, Big Buckley with the modern versions of them, like Hannity, right? And Bill Buckley for me is always a big reminder of a Steven Crowder, because Steven Crowder is the modern version of Bill Buckley in the sense that he's a conservative commentator who's so in the closet and so obviously in the closet that it's just weird. Like, he takes every opportunity to dress as a female, and he's like, he literally had a sidekick who was like called, I don't know, like John Not Gay Michaels or something. You know what I mean? Like, like, I'm not gay, man, I'm not gay, all that masculine sort of culture. And they're saying the same shit. The only difference was Bill Buckley used to drop in Ulysses or fucking Iliad or some bullshit classic. Oh, I was just reading Cicero, and Cicero writes blah blah. And Steven Crowder talks about beer and football and those gray it's the same shit. It's just it's just the aesthetical difference. That all there is to these
so he's saying,
motherfuckers.
So Matt Taibbi is saying Fox promoted Sean Hannity as the perfect vision of conservative manhood. And then he goes, unlike Rush Limbaugh, he was not literate like William Safire or Bill Buckley. So here he's saying that, these group of people are qualitatively like better than Sean Hannity. And
definitely different.
The kind of work that they put out.
It's not, they're not quite as just.
I mean, he says good stuff.
They don't have as much of as a tunnel vision as. But my point, was that I was trying to see.
Sorry, I tried to steal your point to make.
No,
back my own points.
No, go ahead. But
we each have our own agenda here.
The degeneration that we talk about in media is almost purely aesthetical thing. It's a rhetorical and aesthetical thing, and I agree. I don't like it. I prefer when Bill Buckley was debating Chomsky to Hannity screaming at some fucking social activist. But it's a purely aesthetical thing. There is no, Bill Buckley wasn't giving anybody any more substance than Steven Crowder is, but his fucking fancy accent, it was all the same fucking crap being shoveled. So that's I just had that in my mind.
No, I definitely agree with you.
So I thought I'd bother you with it.
No, good stuff. What do you have anything else that you want to discuss about Matt Taibbi's book?
Not really. No, the Bill Buckley one really gave me that sort of a light bulb thingy, but no.
Oh yeah, do you want to watch a bit of Bill Buckley, or I mean, this is a 9-minute one, but if people want to get a sense of him, I'm not going to lay a finger on you. The quality is this one's not the best.
Pause. I mean, if you can find, there is a bit in it, maybe.
So this is with Woody Allen.
Yeah, this is with Woody Allen. There is a bit further. I think it's muted for now, but it's about. This is Woody Allen had a show, and there's a lady where she asks. Go back. It's a blonde lady. I think it's further back that asks. It's just here. I think it's this lady that asks him about women in miniskirts, because he was, by the way, extremely conservative. He was a member of Knights of the Malta, who are considered the sovereign entity in international politics and conduct their own diplomatic relations.
Really?
It's a Catholic order. Yeah, exactly. You almost, it's too stupid to believe that he's part of a stupid Catholic secret society, but he was. And and then I mean, look, this gives you a glimpse of his charm and his the way he conducted himself.
Yeah, let's try. The audio quality is quite bad here, but let's give it a go.
The way that it is the way that it accomplishes certain things that some people want very much to accomplish. Israeli independence.
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Do you know George Hamilton?
I don't actually know George Hamilton. I've seen him only in one picture, and I don't.
Why do you think he went to the wedding?
Why did he go to the wedding? I had heard a rumor that he was going.
It's fair. It's way earlier, I think, but it's not that. Way earlier. I think it's pretty much early. Let's go further. Yeah, just here-ish. Oh, here. This lady.
It's the same lady.
Lady, what's your question?
Mr. Buckley, do you think miniskirts are in good taste?
Do I think what?
Miniskirts are in good taste.
On you, I think they are.
This is the noble media of the past.
This is the noble media of the past, my friend. Woody Allen, a sexual pervert, talking to both alleged sexual perverts talking to each other. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good legs are in good taste.
That was too funny, man. Hold on, we have to rewatch
It could be anybody, including the Boston Strangler. I want to ask a question because there's somebody in the dock there or at the lectern.
Mr. Buckley, who would you like to see as the presidential nominee for...
Man, this show's a joke. Where did this lady go?
After this guy. She's after him.
There we go.
What's your question?
Mr. Buckley, do you think miniskirts are in good taste?
Do I think what?
Miniskirts are in good taste.
On you, I think they are. Good legs are in good taste.
But this was his charm, though. He was, you know what I
mean? Back in the day, that passed as charm.
You know, exactly. It's
one era's charm, sort of. Another era's harassment.
No, come on. Don't.
On TV, imagine. You go do that. I want to see you in any setting. Someone asks you.
Look at me.
And you tell them.
Oh, come on.
You to death right there, and I won't come to your defense.
Thanks. I have such good friends. But no, I feel like this was a harmless joke. But his trick, you see, all his tricks are rhetorical. You know, this was a good answer, but it didn't answer his real. Like National Review was a conservative magazine that put out articles that pretty much blamed women for being raped because they were wearing mini skirts at the time. And what he does there is just the trick of the time.
Yeah.
And it's just that's all he is, just a slightly more refined charlatan than Crowder.
No, very good point there.
But I wouldn't call this harassment. I think you went a bit too
I don't know about that. Yeah, no.
It was like a joke.
I don't know, public setting to a stranger, that's like, uncomfortable, that's for sure.
It's like an old man when they see like a girl and they go, "Oh, you're so pretty, I would have."
That's different. And those two weren't like that. He was like 10, 15 years maybe older.
I guess he's not that
old,
I suppose. Yeah.
But yeah, so Matt Taibbi had one chapter, just to wrap it up for me at least, where he talks about 10 rules of hate. And I really like some of these. So just a few I'm going to mention. One is, number one, there are only two ideas. So, conservative or liberal, left or right, communist or capitalist, Soviet Union capitalist or United States. And, I always complain about false dichotomies, capitalist, sorry. So, I hate those. And they don't only exist in the media. You witness these everywhere in life. But yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, you're so right.
Hate people, not institutions. This was an interesting one. I like that. This is pretty cool. The over focus on the people.
My sort of adage to that is hate people and institutions.
And institutions, yeah. But it's not done.
What's not done?
In the media, he's saying that in the media they hate on people but not on institutions.
On the left, I think it's the opposite. Though I feel like
perhaps.
they love people but hate institutions, and that's a big problem because when you talk, people are good. I mean, education system is crap, but everybody who comes out of it is a lovely person.
No. He doesn't mean. He's not talking about the people in that way. He means like hate like Trump. Hate the president, hate the attorney general or something, or hate like this lawyer. It's not the institution or the system's fault. I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, sure.
Then he has another one. This is a great one. Everything is someone else's fault.
That's definitely.
And this one follows with it. And nothing is everyone's fault. This is really good one. I think that was it. Oh, and this one. Yeah. Number 8.
Well, all of them, you've basically.
No, they're all good, but yeah, the other side is literally Hitler.
Literally, yeah, that was good.
But yeah, like, I mean, you know, he pretty much, his book is like manufacturing consent. 99% of everything agrees manufacturing consent, and then 1% of the new changes and his thesis and his experience on the road and all that.
It's a much easier and better read than manufacturing. I'm sorry to say.
No, much more fascinating. Manufacturing consent, I would be much more fascinated reading it. I would, you know, with this book, I rarely had a moment where I read it and put it down and I was like,
And what, manufacturing consent, when you read it, you had that moment?
Perhaps 10 years ago or 12 years ago when I read it, there was more of a chance where I would have gone. I'm not saying it's my favorite book or anything. I don't come out here talking about too much, but Taibbi's book, though, that I just read didn't really leave too many moments like that for me. But yeah, maybe this one either I wouldn't have.
I mean, to be fair, I've only had that reaction with like 2 books in my whole life that I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
Not the whole book, like at least something in it.
Or even, I mean, I never found Chomsky's writing, frankly, aesthetically. Like he's so boring. But
this book is very different, though.
Which book?
Manufacturing Consent, yeah. You know, because of the other writer, you know, the amounts of like graphs, charts, and the way it's divided. And
exactly.
It makes his arguments clear. He doesn't run away. He puts like mechanisms.
No, he never runs away.
Yeah.
I don't think Chomsky, for example, you can never say Chomsky is meandering or he's like, you know, going off topic. He stays on topic extremely boringly. He stays on topic very boringly. And I mean, look, I never found the revelations that to be groundbreaking, but yeah, I would say it would be a good
because they existed.
But and this is like, as a read, this is a much easier and better read than Manufacturing Consent.
Yeah, it's an easy. Of course, they're 2 different kinds of books, but I mean, you know,
it's
just my personal preference. I found that more interesting. It definitely was
so weird
easy to read Maté's book. No, Maté's book was very. I mean, you know, I read, I think, like 30% of it in a few hours.
Yeah,
but I can skim some parts, but yeah.
I'm just. Was more, but yeah, it seemed like a good, like add-on to manufacturing, like an update. Like William Domhoff does these things that I've told you about. That he's done it. He studies democracy in America. And he goes back every few years and updates his book. And he used to be like, he used to believe in a pluralistic version of America. He increasingly moved to an elitist model, pretty much close to C. Wright Mill. So yeah, I think like that.
But I don't know. I wouldn't say Taibbi's book like wasn't it. Yeah, just because the style was so different and everything that, you know.
Yeah, it was
not too much of an addition to manufacturing. I guess we have opposing views here. Let's agree to disagree. As 2 gentlemen from the 60s and 70s let's agree to disagree.
Let's agree.
But you're a piece of shit. I hope you die in your sleep. Respectfully.
But I respect.
You're a great man.
Could you kill yourself?
Choked to death. Who's that? Where's that girl? Any girls around here? Any chicks in the audience? That's funny. I can't believe that was an entertaining clip, man. From the girl's question to how he responded, and then you have next to him, you know, sitting next to him is, God damn it. How could I forget?
By the way, this was before
Woody Allen.
This was, Woody Allen. And this was right. It's a Johnson election coming up. So Johnson is in office.
60s? 60s.
Yeah.
60s. Yeah. I'm really bad with my presidents when I wasn't alive.
And you're good with the ones you are like. George H.W., come on, tell me. When did his presidency win? You were alive. Come on.
Well, yeah. All right. Anything else here on hating?
No, I feel we really milked it. Like, we read a book, guys. We have to make 16 different videos about. Like, after many years, we actually read one book, and you're so excited.
Fair enough. All right. We're back, and now we're actually gonna watch, the behind the paywall part of this great interview between these two folks. And yes, Sam. So, how did you manage to get your hands on this exclusive footage?
I have connections within trans community and within Black community and within Asian American community. So, I've managed to.
I see.
I've managed to. I just paid the $5. Much more.
No, you're connected to all the communities. But okay. So I haven't watched the rest of it after we covered in our previous video, but we're going to watch now the last 8 minutes. And we're going to start with Bri's going to be talking. I just want to mention one thing in general. I thought Bri was terrific in this whole video. And she's one person who actually understands the arguments I feel are being made on both sides, and just says, this is what you guys are saying, and summarizes them every time very well. Whereas, for instance, Old Lady, it's like as if she wouldn't hear the other side. So Bri might not agree with one of the sides, or might not like it, or might be like, okay, fine, you made your point, let's move on. It's not like her favorite thing, but at least both her right and left ear work, and she understands both sides.
Sure, but look, not that I'm a bigger fan of Olaimi's style, but at the same time, I talked about this in our last show in 4 Corners of Geopolitics, which we going to talk about the Katie Halper thing. That was the problem I have with a lot of. Everybody's just, it seems like everybody wants to be friends with each other.
But no, I'm not. That's what I'm talking about, though. But like,
no,
you want to at least the
very
people.
Nice.
But like here in the middle, I find that's good. Like, how else do you want her to act? Like, she at least shows that she's listening to both sides and summarizes the arguments.
I don't feel like every question needs to start with, look, okay, I understand your position, then summarizing the person's position and then asking a question,
No,
like,
I find that's good. No, but okay, you can just ask the question. But Olaimi was like not even hearing. It's like frustrating as a viewer when like it's like, are you not hearing the words that, yeah, you're right, exactly. Olaimi was debating, whereas
she wasn't hosting.
At least, hosting, yeah.
No, I'm just saying,
I guess we reached some kind of agreement.
A different position. But I would also, in an interview, just get to the fucking point, man. You know what I mean? Like,
but you want to talk a bit.
Like, as every time, both people, by the way, not just, I'm not talking about like one person, both with Kim and Esperanza, she's so nice, almost. It's to a point of like, Jesus, like, and I'm sorry, like, you don't have to stand on ceremony for 50 minutes before you ask a question.
But okay, fine, I see what you mean there. But sometimes you want to also talk a bit. But sure,
I agree with you.
I
just wanted to, before you said all this and distracted me, I wanted to say that Bri did such a good job in their view, and I think it's such a bad thing that she hasn't put up the rest. In the end, I think Esperanza even comes across as worse than the major part, which is published on YouTube. And in the end, I think, which we're going to see, Bri does a great job of concluding everything and see what happens. It's very interesting and awkward.
I look forward. Let's go.
So she did a great job. Sometimes I'm a dick. Yeah.
I have issues. That song written by you.
That's the lyrics. Talk to me.
All right, let's go.
I don't disagree, Esperanza, that obviously so much of what's meaningful with respect to organizing is happening in person and on the ground. It does strike me, however, and I won't speak for Kim, but I see myself as playing a communications role. I was literally in comms on the Bernie campaign. I don't pretend to be an organizer, although I value enormously that work. And I try to consider ways in which I can facilitate, right? Like, I'm not gonna, I think I have some
3 minutes later.
good capacity as a comms person. I think I have a skill set in comms. I think I'm useful in comms. I don't think everyone has to be an organizer, and I don't think it would necessarily be the best use for me at of my time, although that might change forward in the future at some point. But to that end, sometimes it is frustrating to me that there is, and I'm not saying this about you, but there is often, I think, not a consideration for the role that communications play in tandem with organizing efforts that are more grassroots. And if you're telling me, and I will concede the point to you, I'm genuinely asking, if you're telling me that when you're knocking on doors and trying to advance, pro-trans legislation or undermine anti-trans legislation is more often probably how it goes, or simply organize communities on a class level, that moments of cultural firestorms like these don't have an effect on people's perception of whether or not they want to join with you, then fine, maybe none of it matters. And Tucker Carlson going on TV and having these, screeds about someone going in a girl's bathroom or all of the stuff doesn't matter. But it seems like people are trying to have it both ways. Either the stuff is bigoted that's happening in the media and it's horrible and it's causing violence to trans people, like Josh Hawley says, or it doesn't matter. And to the extent that I think it does matter, I think the aggregate stuff matters. I think
and in the video, Esperanza is making so many contradictions. Like, oh, this issue is not important. But no, this issue causes a lot of harm. No, let's just move on. Yeah.
That was just the perfect. I mean, she goes on to say something that I completely disagree with, which Bri says, in my opinion, communication and all these messaging stuff matters. I don't think it matters at all, in my view, right? But she's completely right that some people are trying to have it both ways. That, calling you a TERF or calling you a transphobe or calling you a racist or a bigot, that's not causing emotional damage. But if you call me by my old name, that is causing me emotional damage. The hypocrisy, the double standard is just glaring.
Or in everything though, like, I mean, it happened a bunch of times, like, oh, these are not important issues, just like the transphobe thing and just like trans issues in general. It's like, well, it's not really important, let's talk about economic and all this. But then this is the whole thing. Oh, Twitter is not important, who cares about Twitter? But let's not allow this to Twitter should ban these kind of things.
But so Elon Musk
everything she kind of like did it. And
exactly. And if you play, I mean, in the end, it gets.
No, we're gonna watch it though. This is just 6 more minutes. I think it's worth it.
New York Times article last week that seemed like an open call for a real cultural shift against trans people. I think that stuff matters. And so my feeling is that I want to do harm reduction and try to figure out how to avoid some of the avoidable missteps while understanding that some people are just going to be mad at trans people because they are in fact transphobic. And I'm trying to parse out the differences here because I think there are things that we could just avoid and help the broader interests, and things that are just fights we're going to have to fight because people are bigoted. And if you don't see there to be a difference there or any kind of value in that project, I respect that. But that's just so you know, that's where I'm coming from. I don't think talking about these issues is useless or doing the same thing as provoking a firestorm. I probably would not have chosen that topic to discuss on Rising. But now that it's out there, I feel like it was managed in a way that I didn't love. And I wanted to try in my own way in a comms capacity to do the kind of solidarity building that I can do, which is to try to help people understand each other, even if they disagree.
Yeah, can I chime in with one thing real quick? Just real quick. I just wanted to say, just to respond to that, I don't think that communications does not matter, but I think that when you're giving mandates or dictates to the movement, telling the movement what they need to do to win, that's where, if you have never actually organized on the ground, you don't know what it's going to take to win, and you are in no position to tell people what it's going to take to win.
So, that's why I invited you here, Esperanza, because I think of this as an open conversation about it. I certainly don't have strong mandates about what I think that people should do. When I show you these clips and when I ask you these questions to try to get a sense of whether or not you did respond to it the way I responded to it, or if I'm right to have responded to it the way that I did. But go ahead, Kim.
I would just say that. So I have in the past then knocked on doors and done activist work. I don't, I guess
this person is the authority on everything. Don't talk to me about protest or movement strategies if you don't know. I'm the great strategy leader, Machiavelli II.
Because as we know, she's currently the U.S. president. She ran a presidential campaign. She became president. But that's just, I love how there are all these activists that don't tell us how to do because for the last 30 years, the left has been doing
Bri.
so great.
I don't think she's ever told anybody what to do.
That's why you shouldn't spend half an hour justifying your question before asking it. Because nobody gives a shit. They are still going to criticize you for asking the question. So don't justify it. You don't have to justify yourself to anyone, especially not us or her. But I would add, this whole debate going in the way it has started because there is a point where suddenly Esperanza earlier on suddenly goes to Kim, sorry, Kim, to ask you this, but have you ever organized? And then Kim is like, sorry, organize. And then Kim is like, any person would be like, yes, I have, I've been involved with, grassroots movement. I don't know if I was like the lead organizer. No, well, if you haven't organized, you don't know. And that's why it goes to the way that both Bri and Bri and Kim start saying, well, communications also is part of organizing and getting, like Kim says that, well, I could go knock on doors, but through my shows, I reach more people.
Yeah.
So, it's just, that's why it goes to the place it does in the end. Yeah.
And Kim proposed legislation at the age of 11. Let's not forget that.
She should have pulled that shit out. If you're just like, because, these people talk about organizing as if they're doing something so difficult, something so...
No, I mean, it's not straightforward. And the same strategies in some cases work and in some cases they don't, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
So also the strategies have their limitations. If not, they would have conquered the world, whoever has the key.
And they complement each other, and it's almost impossible to measure what works, what doesn't work a lot of times. And it's just like, and it has nothing to do with the issue you're debating anyway. It wasn't like Kim was saying that, all Kim was saying that it's not a good idea for some people to call some other people slurs. That was their whole thing.
No, Esperanza is a good debater because A, she's very chilled and stuff, so she's not getting like frustrated, and B, she like throws these kind of questions that are like throw the other person off guard. So if you want to win points and score and make your opposition
a bit good debating.
No, in the sense of not good debating in advancing the conversation. Good debating, like making the other person look bad, and so you have your side think that they're winning and them to cheer for you.
For sycophants.
Exactly. Like for your fans, you put on a good show.
But I feel like her
100%.
Her bored and sort of a condescending, patronizing face throughout the show is. And all the time, Bri and Kim is quite nice too. And Bri, no, we invited you because we don't know. You can tell us, as if she has some fucking access to, the secret knowledge of activism. I knock at doors and tell them, did you know healthcare saves you money?
No, that preamble from Bri was kind of reminded me of Iranian national TV or the news where they say hi for like a minute and a half.
Iranian state TVs like, no disrespect to you as a Christian, but being a Christian, I know you are. I tell you, man, wokeness. It's tarof in Iran. It's the same fucking thing. It's we had the Iranian Revolution was the original woke revolution.
Okay.
Let's women are nice.
Let's go back to this. Deep breath. You're back. 1979, forgotten. 2022. Okay.
I need heroin. It's recreational heroin.
Just read an article about Iran quietly while we finish this video there.
I'm going to read about the empire for a bit while you play.
The empire? What empire are you even referring to, though? Now I'm confused.
the original Iranian Cyrus, Darius, those guys.
All right, let's go back to this. We'll piss more people off.
I wouldn't call myself an organizer. You know, I didn't lead the movement by any means, but I spent a fair amount of time as an environmental activist, for example, knocking on doors, trying to get people to sign petitions and, you know, in order to lobby the politicians to stop certain projects that were going to be harmful to certain wildlife and whatnot.
Don't forget
and have
the
written
legislation.
Proposed legislation, anti-deforestation legislation, you know, early on. And so done the work, I would say, of what you're discussing, getting on the ground, talking to people, knocking on the doors, and doing activist work, trying to get them, persuading them to my side of an issue. But I will say
11-year-old Kim knocking on door, drafting legislation while she's walking from one house to another. No, not with this line, okay? Sincerely, Kim, 11.
Will you? It's a petition I'm sending to Reagan to pull out of South America. Will you sign? What's what? How old are you again? 5. Good. Sign it. Sign it. Don't be a traitor. I have to go to swim in Olympics. Come on, do it.
True that. Oh, man, Kim has had like 3 careers by the age of 40 now, 3 successful ones. Legislator, swimmer, and now media person.
Activist /
policymaker, sorry, policymaker.
Policy think tank. She's been acting as a single person think tank.
She was a think tank.
She was a think tank herself. No, I must say, I relate to her though, because I was one of these fucking dorky.
You were drawing invasion maps when you were 10. Where the UK, how the UK can get France.
Yeah, exactly. How do you know about this? Did I share my plans with you? Like, I have dreamt of taking over France for so many years. We will take back Brittany and Normandy one day. Inshallah. So I so relate to Kim, but we are dorks.
Okay.
Say that though that is extremely important work. I would also agree, I guess, kind of to piggyback on what you were saying, Brianna, that there's no greater influence, I would say. I mean, I could knock on all the doors that I could, but I would say that, yeah, being in a communications role has a greater impact because more people are going to hear the message. So, and you know, of course, the good example of then there's people that counter the message, and those people also have a very powerful position in the anti-movement because they're having a platform and speaking it. So I would say that it's definitely both. You need to organize, you need to get on the ground, you need to knock on the doors, you need to talk to the people, you need to get them on your side, especially to counter, I would say, do that in particular to counter some of the messaging that they've been hearing in the media because the media is so powerful.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say even ranking them that comms is more important, but it does seem to be a symbiotic relationship. And I hope that we can continue to try to work on that. I really do appreciate your willingness to come and talk today, Esperanza and Kim, both of you. I know this is sensitive, and it's sensitive for a good reason, because the implications of this for a lot of very vulnerable people are significant. And I don't want to lose sight of that in this conversation, just because it's kind of a secondhand, you know, an adjacent conversation about some of these speech issues in a social media uproar. And Esperanza, I would absolutely love for you to come back and talk more pointedly about other substantive issues that are affecting the trans community in the future. All right, so Kim, let people know where they can find you other than on Rising 4 days a week.
So you're thinking the silence.
Yeah, that's what
says a lot.
Silence says it's more than, yeah, exactly, man. I mean, that's why you shouldn't be nice to people. I mean, especially in a professional environment, just don't be nice to people.
Or be nice to
polite, don't attack.
But this is
yeah, but don't be like, you see, after all, every time she wants to ask a question, she gives like 3 notifications and 3 flags. Don't I'm thinking of those people too. I'm thinking, and then here at the end she brings it up, and I hope you come back one day and discuss more these issues. Okay, you gonna just okay. This reminded me of when Obama met with Putin, and Obama was like, "No, we had good discussion." It was the last 2 years. We had good discussions, and Putin was just like.
But hold on, but wait, there's 1 minute and 20 seconds left during this clip, so she doesn't say anything.
No, she says at the end, Bri says, "Where can they find you?"
Wow.
She says,
"I'm not going to tell them where they can find me, Brianna. Are you nuts? I'm not doxing myself."
That was funny.
on the internet.
Well, you could, of course, you find me on Rising, but you can just go to KimIversen.com, and you can email me. I do get plenty of emails every day from people. And I'm sure
and you should join me.
Wow. Yeah, that was no thank you. And yeah, she told him to come back, talk about, man, Brianna would let her come back and talk about all the issues she wants by herself. And here, and you know, I guess, I mean, yeah, Brianna didn't,
what an idiot.
Brianna didn't, like, you know, in an unfair way take her side. So I mean, that's all I can see that she could be upset about. If she is, maybe she just didn't want to say thank you, and that was a stylistic thing. I don't know. Maybe she was just like, whatever. I'll thank you later.
I don't think that was a stylistic thing. I really don't think so.
Maybe that's her thing.
No, I know a shade. I know a shade when it's been thrown. Yeah, but no, I would. Yeah, it's just yeah. But I would add that. Yeah, my whole point about Bri, which was not planned, I didn't want to talk about this, was that, yeah, I just don't like we talk about it more with Katie Halper, actually. I'm going to talk about it more there, so let's just talk about it there.
But let's just wrap up with one other thing here, though. So with this whole segment, because, yeah, I would say some of these things, some of your tactics can be like in a way like counterproductive if you think, you know. So if you go around just like asking, sometimes banning things, you know, it can be unproductive. Whereas if you go with another approach, you don't ban it, but you say why it's like not good to be said, that might be more effective now, I would imagine. So here, for instance, apparently Dave Chappelle was hours away from performing, and then the venue is suddenly like, oh no, we wanted, this is a safe space, and blah, 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 complaints. We're canceling the show here. And on that same night, apparently, they just moved the tickets and everything else to another venue, so everybody got to go to the show. So if you ask me, that's like a big counterproductive thing to happen. You tried to cancel Dave Chappelle, not have him there. No, all you did is move his audience somewhere else, and also put in the narrative that the show was canceled because people had concern over, you know, his jokes and stuff, and people be like, look, people are concerned about this, come on, he's just joking. So if anything, you pissed off 1 or 2 people in the audience, if anything. I'm not saying that you know it's extremely counterproductive. I'm just saying that, you know, some of these tactics, nothing productive comes out, and maybe something very little unproductive might come out.
Oh, I definitely agree with that for sure. I mean, it's usually backfires. Not that it matters anyway. But I would ask you, do you know what the fuck happened here? Because I listened.
Yeah, I just told you.
But no. You like who? Like, because the stage place or whatever the place was, they put a statement out that we didn't put the show on because some people complained, but we apologize to Mr. Like, they were so, like, the message didn't seem they're being like, the message was so weird. I didn't understand. Were they trying to protect Dave Chappelle, or were they trying to protect?
No, I think they were the reputation of their place and their place.
So
like,
why were
it being that Dave Chappelle is gonna lead to protests and stuff? There'll be protests, and then there'll be like hate among people in the audience, and maybe Dave Chappelle. I think in general, like that's what they kind of meant.
Oh, really?
I think maybe, yeah. Because they said there were apparently like threats for there to be protests or stuff like that. But
so yeah, that's why I thought they did it, because they wanted to protect Dave Chappelle, because they were worried there's going to be violence. So
I didn't interpret. Let me see. I mean, just hours before saying he had lost sight of the Impact community. The Wednesday night shows moved to another venue across town. So this is a statement. We hear tonight's show has been canceled. You see, the Dave Chappelle show has been canceled. Is moving to staff. Or we hear, and we are sorry. We must higher standards. Enforcement will work to make the venues we believe.
Oh my God, this is worse than I thought. No,
yeah, no,
awful.
I don't think you get. It's
they're
just
awful.
They're just like, listen, what's the easiest way? Yeah, go and do it in this venue. I don't know how that solves anything, any concerns, but they're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a standard virtue signaling sort of a. I like the conscious objectors to war. Like, I'm not involved in this. I'm washing off my hand off of Dave Chappelle.
But I love how the message though. Oh no, this is. Oh, you know what though? Yeah, no. Who is this by? You know, First Avenue.
First Avenue. That's the place. That's the name of.
But why are they already announcing that it's moved to Varsity Theater? Like, do they own both of them? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Or is it like one organization just being like, okay, we're moving 2 streets down the road?
We are going back to university. Police Academy.
It's
it's very confusing because if it's been moved, then doesn't that mean it's okay? If we think it's okay, but they seem to think it has a problem. So very odd.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it leads to I would say if you're a state and you do these things, not nowadays, but 30 years ago, it could have worked. The Iranian government did it effectively with many people. But nowadays, and if you're not a state, if you're just some fucking activist, you're a fucking idiot. Like, that's the other thing about these activists that are for censorship. I don't get, they're so like, okay, if you were in power, then maybe, go, push for censorship. You're not in power, motherfucker. As soon as censorship, it's going to be used on you, you idiot. Like, it's so stupid.
Most likely, right. There's a big chance. All right, Sam. So I say, since we're on the topic of Brianna Bad Faith, and I feel like we're going through a phase of reconnecting with Brianna. We had she's unaware, but we had our differences. Now we decided
you're like a fan that gets you're really upset at some actor for doing a movie, and then it comes out, it's good. It's like, back, baby, she's back.
But she put out this interview with Dr. I forgot.
Carl something.
Forgot his name right now, and I didn't listen to the whole interview because I must have listened. I've watched a lot of interviews with this guy. I mean,
me too. It's for certain reasons we both have seen a lot of interviews. It's not that we both have certain interviews.
No, but this guy's too funny. But a few funny things came out of this thing. So I mean, he talks about like, drugs and how we see drugs, how we can use drugs, and I mean, he himself, I mean, this always comes up, but he himself actually uses heroin. And as he pointed out to Bri, heroin is also a recreational drug. As Bri at one point was like, nowadays people are more relaxed with recreational drugs like marijuana. And he's like, well, actually, heroin is also a recreational drug.
Oh, man, it wasn't like that. It was like, Bri was like, marijuana is more recreational, and then some drugs are like hard, like heroin. And sorry, Bri, Bri, let me stop you there. Heroin is recreational. It was like you insulted his mom or something. Like, I'm sorry, you don't talk about my mother like that. Like,
so I mean, he talks about drugs and drug policies, and he's both a neuroscientist and a psychologist, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yeah, psychiatrist, not psychologist.
I always mix these two.
I think so. He's a I must say, the person I talk to about transsexualism a lot. I take consultation, is also same, and I take them a lot more seriously. Neurologists, I don't know why, they seem much more scientific minded than just psychiatrists, in my experience.
But so I mean, he talked about that. So it's like good stuff. He always shows about the impacts of different policies and how we conceive drugs, how we view drugs, and even he had one interesting part. He's like, I mean, this I don't know how. it's his version, right? I don't know much about the history, but about crack cocaine, he was kind of like, well, in the African American community itself, we made it look so bad that then that was an excuse for policies such as the 100-to-1, which is pretty much like you get 100 times the punishment for crack, for like the liquid form of cocaine versus the powder form of cocaine. So I don't know, that was such a strong statement that I was like, I know you're a research guy and all this, and you're a high-level professor, but wow, that's an interesting
I disagree.
analysis
I disagree with
there.
that
Yeah.
aspect.
It was
the
a tough
media
one.
portray.
Not the media portray. He just kind of meant that even people fed into it. But I think he also meant like at the people level. Yeah.
Yeah. But the parents were informed by media portrayal of, like, for example, crack cocaine and stuff. I don't think that would have mattered too much, like, because of those structure. For example, when there is poverty in the community, the drug gonna spread, whether it's demonized or not. You could argue,
but I think he meant like also governments then taking. But I think he also meant then governments taking opportunity of that view to criminalize people over.
Well, they created that opportunity. So
yeah, I think maybe more that way. So I think
circular logic there.
But that argument was one that kind of caught my attention.
But I loved it so much, man, because I think he was right on everything. And especially the thing he was right on was opioid crisis. And I loved his thing about how much bullshit it is, the opioid crisis.
Really? What did he say?
Well, he talks about how statistics regarding the opioid deaths have been exaggerated. He talks about how, for example, since about a decade ago or so, prescriptions for opioids have gone down, but deaths related to opioid overdose has not gone down. So you can't just reconnect it to prescriptions and all that. So I found that part to be the best part, because that's the part where a lot of people on the left are, as usual, the corporations with their advertising and with their prescriptions are destroying our life.
I mean, I didn't hear it that version. My version of that I heard is that they were subscribing it to people to so much, and it's so addictive that then people develop a heroin addiction pretty much.
Yeah, that's another version of the.
Did he counter that?
Yeah, he talked about that.
He didn't say Kam is right.
He said Kam is right, but
having said that,
but he likes that. No, he said this story is bullshit largely. I forget what. Let me just give me. Why did he say that? He said that. I don't know. But anyway, I get, and I think his argument was that if there was social structures and enough education, then you wouldn't maybe have as much overdose. Then I forget, but he literally the thing you just said, he says we all heard that story that somebody goes on opioid, but it's so addictive that then he points out, for example, I think around 10% or I think 5% of people who use opioids, or was it benzos, they all get addicted. So he puts it all in very interesting.
It's still pretty high, relatively decent percentage, but
no, it's not 5%,
10%, 1 out of 10.
Not heroin, which has the highest according to research, although he says heroin is artificially high, is 30%. It's still a minority.
Big minority though, 30%. If something has
so what?
No, not so what, I'm just saying, well, I mean, still 10%, but I mean, it depends what the impact is.
Anyway,
but that's interesting. And then and found out something very interesting about Bri. We can leave that for the end if you have other points about the actual topic of discussion.
No, I just wanted to say, now I wanted to move on to the more let's just talk about it in a fun fashion.
So I mean, the funnest thing I heard, Bri framed it the wrong way. I think she framed it differently, but she was like, I'm the oldest person in America who has never smoked weed or marijuana. And I was like, and I think she framed, and he was like, no, trust me, there are others. And I was like, she should have framed it. I'm like the only young person, or I'm the oldest young person in America to never have touched marijuana in my life. Now I was like,
well, she's been around it, but she's not.
She's never even had one puff.
Yeah, that is so weird.
Insane.
That's, by the way, that gave me the light bulb moment why sometimes I really attack people. Like, I know I am for sure these people that are on the hill and people on the left who do shows, I'm sorry, but they're such goody two shoes, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I still can't believe it. I think she's exaggerating, frankly, because she hopes to work. I mean, how can you not have smoking weed and you're like, what, 35 years old or something? Like, how can you have...
So yeah, never from high school to university.
Cocaine, like, man, I've only done cocaine like a few, like very few, but she was talking like as if she only thing she knows about cocaine is like 80s movies. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, I couldn't believe.
But she was open-minded though, at least to the whole thing.
Yeah, she was open-minded, but I can't believe they're such...
No, but I mean, she went to university. She went to high school.
Exactly.
And then university. And I'm guessing she was at least invited to one party every 2 months, let's say. Let's not give her the normal average rate based on what we've heard. But at least one of those during freshman year, there should have been some kind of peer pressure that made her take one puff or two. That's what peer pressure is for. What kind of school did she go to? There's nobody pressuring you to do bad stuff.
What kind of a fucked up school is this? Harvard. But no, I mean, look, I still can't believe it. I genuinely find it very difficult to believe that somebody... I mean, like, even my grandpa like did drugs. Like,
you think Bri spoke to her mom when she was at uni every single night on the phone, or every other day?
If this interview is truthful, yes. If
Twice
this
a day.
interview, guys, probably messages in between. Yeah, I got home, Mom.
Like her mom got her phone specifically for just texting her while she's at uni.
I don't know. Like, it sounds like that because I mean, look, the thing is though, my parents were the same. Like, there's one bit they talk about how their parents used to demonize crack cocaine and all that. Yeah. My parents were the same. Like, crack and heroin was very much, if you try it once, addicted, blah blah. But it's still like, we weren't like living in a cave. We knew, like, it's just like weed, cocaine.
Yeah.
Like,
but this is good. I envy Bri. I'm pretty sure if she goes out on a night, she has like probably the cheapest bar tab. It'll be like one drink. That time, you remember during her show, she had like one or two tequila drinks.
One drink, she was drunk. I hate you.
Yeah, she's the one who can go out and be like, oh, I just had this one drink tonight. It was good though. It was good. Got tipsy.
I had
spent like $100 on the cheapest beers.
And I'm still fucking sober.
Having to switch to double rum and coke now for the last few.
Man, there is one bit where you completely understand what's going on, where she's like, actually culturally, I've always been more into drinks. I like the glasses and fancy spoons. Okay, you like kitchenware. You don't like drinking. You like that's what's happening. She would love it in Iran, though. As you know, Iran, they're huge on mocktails.
Yeah. Of course, because they
have like they mix 6 drinks because they don't have alcohol. So to mix anything we can mix in this. She would have the most fun in Iran. Yeah. But yeah, it was. But at the same time, I felt like, did you feel like, especially as the show went on, you didn't say till the end, it felt like the highest, like, intellectual drug deal ever, because the whole time the doctor guy was trying basically to convince Bri to do drugs. And look, Bri, I know, and Bri's like, look, I enjoy drinks. I already have fun with drinks, so I feel like I don't need to try new. No, look, Bri, if you tried drugs, it's like when you take an airplane. Do you rather go from Miami to New York walking or air? Come on, listen to me, Bri, just take a puff. Bri, come on, do it. She was trying to like sell. I mean, he was trying to sell his books, but also drugs to Bri so hard that it was just like, and Bri, no, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what happened to Bri. That was like she was going to Harvard. People saying, "Come on, Bri, you need to try this to have fun and stuff." And then Bri was like, no, I'm okay with like my spoons.
Man, too funny. But I just remembered the biggest thing. It's going to be my mission for the next few weeks to spot him. Did he say he lives half his life in Geneva and he's currently in Geneva right now?
Yeah,
He
he said
lives
he's
half
a
the
heat
year
wave in Geneva.
and he's in Geneva right now. Okay.
Yeah, man, see if you can get some good drugs.
I was gonna take a picture of him and show it to you, but
he said he has good drugs that are tested by the lab. They are not rubbish you buy on the streets. He
what kind of
talks about
access
this.
does he have? That's crazy.
Yeah,
I should go and listen to that
we should
part.
email him immediately.
Man, that's
and
funny.
Not about interview or anything bullshit like that. Talk about the drugs.
But and you know, the reason I'm relatively optimistic I could spot him. One, Geneva's tiny. Putting that aside. But I live like within like 500 meters from the central station, right? 600, 700, let's say a kilometer from the central station, right? So very close. And right next to that, I think it has Geneva's only heroin injection, like no heroin, like what's it called? Clinic where you can
facility,
where you can go
clean needles.
You get clean needles and you can do heroin there. And then typical European Geneva style, like people are, you know, around bars, people are allowed to hover and with their own drinks, and here allowed this, they're just allowed to hover around. So there are all these people who come out of there. So I often go by out of my way to pass by them, see what they're up to. It can be interesting. So I have a feeling he would also go observing that clinic like twice a day just for fun. Not that he would go in there, but observe it. So if I hang around there, I should be able to spot him.
Yeah, try to get some drugs from him. But and also, I mean, I assume there's not a big black population in Geneva, right? So he would
there is.
Stand out.
No, there is, of course. No,
there
huge.
Is?
Yeah.
Geneva? Okay. Well, I didn't know.
I mean, not as big as perhaps some places in France. But,
London?
Yeah, perhaps not as much as London, although a lot. In Geneva, perhaps a lot because of the internationalness. So yeah, if you step out of Geneva, maybe it would be a bit a bit less. But no, there's decent, and then of course, no, for sure. Yeah, and especially near the
maybe. Yeah,
no. There'll be a lot, and especially near the train station and all that, the main one, there'll be a lot. But yeah, so I should be able to spot him pretty easily.
The whole time, this is something that other people should comment on. I'm genuinely asking now, like Bri with that. Yeah, I'm just asking. I don't. But the whole time they talk about like how his drug use for adults is one of his books. I'm going to read his books, by the way. He sounds fantastic. But he says he's not high during this interview. And like this is used as an example of him being responsible, but the drug user. First of all, I like to make 2 points. One is that I don't think there is anything wrong with being high during an interview. It's not like you're riding a fucking airplane. Chill out. In fact, it probably helps. Secondly, he was definitely high during. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. The whole time his eyes are like that, and the pupils are so wide. The pupils, the black part.
You think so? I don't know.
No, I think he was there.
But
you know, like, Bri, come on, Bri, you have to try this. Bri, come on, get high.
But I don't think he smokes weed. In fact, it says weed is pretty lame. So
I don't think. Yeah.
Do you think he can?
I think he was on MDMA.
Oh yeah, I see. Because he also does MDMA.
Talking about MDMA. Yeah, he talks a lot about.
But I think he does heroin every night. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. There was a famous.
But how does he know about all these doses? Like, how does he know how to like microdose to such a little? Yeah.
Well, he's a scientist and he's got like tools, so I assume. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just tempted.
I wish I did know
around me.
Yeah.
Can't even ration beers.
I've been trying to ration. Like, man, every time I buy wine, I'm like, okay, this time it's gonna last me like a month. 3 days later. Hello, sorry, you have more wine.
Yeah, and I mean, if I run into him, and honestly, I don't think I'll ask about drugs because you saw about weed. He's not interested. I'll ask him. I'll be like, Joe, weed, like,
hardcore
heroin. Like, take it easy, pussy.
No, you can't even ask him about like ayahuasca and that type of shit because those are like organic hippie. He's hardcore. Like you have to ask him about like cocaine, liquid cocaine, or like I don't know, fuel, like jet fuel. You can ask him about. Like, you know, yeah, you have to. And again, like I wish, I really wish. Yeah, try to pretend you don't know anything about drugs. He will try to enlighten you about drugs. Like, I'll come to Geneva Then we like, oh, this is my friend. He's also interested in drugs, and then we can get some great
Also
drugs.
interested in drugs.
That's how you introduce. He's also acting dappling.
And just for a split second, we didn't mention this in the beginning, but he's at Columbia, right, or Harvard?
One of like top. He's super. Like
The
he's
two
got
of
$1
them
million.
combined.
Yeah, he's got $1 million. He said one time he's got like $1 million research funding. He's top level. He's
Yeah,
like, as good as it gets. Yeah.
but he
Like,
said,
awesome.
he comes to Geneva, so he doesn't feel like that much of an
Geneva,
outsider.
because in Geneva he said they have those things that you mentioned. The play, like he said in Geneva.
But no, that's one
Holland,
place though where like people who like not anybody can walk in there. That's one place, and it's somewhere where like you have to go and rehab and things like this don't work. Then you have a permit to use that place as well. And the people who hang out around it are like, so it's not like a high class place that he would go and like do a little microdose. So I don't know. He was, I think, referring to other connections and communities. Because, for instance, he brought up the fact that a lot of bourgeois, he called them a lot of bourgeois, do drugs like this, but they keep it on the down low because they don't want to talk about it. And he said one of his missions is actually to make such people talk more openly about. So he must have like an entire like network of like-minded individuals.
No, and that is so funny because you said that heroin. I remember when I was a kid, and not when I was a kid, even before me, because it was more TV shows before my time. And so heroin in Iran was so common.
In Iran is different. The opium and
no, not opium. I'm talking about heroin.
Oh, heroin actually. Okay.
Yeah, and it used to be like Gugush. We talked about Gugush, the famous Iranian singer. She was addicted to heroin. It was very commonly, like a lot of celebrities were heroin addicts. And Richard Pryor, I remember, had a heroin problem, I think. Or maybe it was just cocaine. I don't know. But yeah, heroin, especially back in the days, I think was more middle class. Nowadays, it feels like it's like crack, where you just imagine in your head only poor people doing it. But I think even in like France, I had an uncle who used to live in France, and like I remember he said like he had friends they used to do heroin and that type of thing. So.
I see. Yeah. So maybe back then there was that kind of culture, and of course opium. That's totally different than in Iran. That we'll be getting into a different
opium
story.
Is just that's almost like drinking in Europe.
Nice. No, okay. Anything else here?
No. But yeah, try to hunt him now.
All right, so we've probably reached my next favorite part about this today's show, which is Aaron Maté calling the Guardian writer. So this writer in the Guardian, a gentleman by the name of Mark Townsend, wrote an article, Network of Serial Conspiracy Theorists Identified, based on this quote-unquote research that we'll also touch on, but try not to get stuck on too much. And in it, they refer to Aaron Maté, but they don't even give Monsieur Aaron Maté a phone call. So, of course, knowing Aaron, he was not happy about that. So he calls him. And let's watch the video. So he calls the guy.
I think this is we are witnessing Aaron Maté's shift from journalism to performance art and performance comedy. Like this is where it happens, guys.
This is too good, man. All right.
As I'm recording this right now, if that changes, I will update this video.
And of course, like a true, movie style, he gives the guy an opportunity as well to take it over. You have 24 hours to kill your cat.
This message will delete itself. Oh, what?
Okay, that's not what I meant. Let's listen to this from here.
Any of these questions. Now, I should say that because I'm doing journalism now about Mark Townsend, I did what Mark Townsend didn't do for me. Is before I published this segment and this recording, I wrote to him and I told him that I recorded our phone conversation and I'm going to publish it. And I'd like to give you the opportunity to answer the questions you wouldn't answer on the phone call, or to say anything else. And I will publish it. And in fact, I promised him that unlike The Guardian, I'm not going to edit your response in any way. And I haven't heard back from Mark Townsend as I'm recording this right now. If that changes, I will update this video. So with that, here is my phone call with Mark Townsend of The Guardian.
Hello, Townsend.
Hey, Mark, it's Aaron Maté calling. How you doing?
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, good, thanks.
Good.
He's recording.
Quick question for you.
Like
Why didn't you contact me before publishing in The Guardian that I'm the leading purveyor of disinformation on Syria?
Go, tell him.
That was in a report we were reporting on. I think you got an email anyway.
What's going on?
No, I didn't get an email.
You can do that.
Oh, well, I did send an email and I got your auto reply, so I'm calling you now. And also, can you tell me why you also, so can you also tell me why you didn't identify a single piece of disinformation that I've spread?
I think you got a response from our readers editor, so if you want to add something to the piece, then go for it.
I did not actually get a response. No, I didn't.
You'll get one soon.
So will you not explain, Mark, why you didn't contact me and why you didn't name a single piece of disinformation?
Yeah, you have to contact in advance.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Not send it.
Can you explain that for me? Well, but why didn't you do it when you wrote the article?
He's saying we're gonna answer your.
Can I ask you why you didn't articulate when you wrote the article? Because why not? You yourself have complained. You yourself have complained that the Home Office didn't contact you before they tweeted about one of your articles. So I'm asking you, why didn't you contact me before writing such a consequential claim?
And in fact, the Home Office didn't need to contact him for tweeting his article, actually, and this guy still complained about that. Now that's not part of the
I
practice.
know, right? What a dick.
That's not a thing.
I mean, to be honest,
exactly. The person who doesn't do that, look who he is.
Claim about me. It's pretty simple. Why not?
Look who is what?
He complains about like actually a version of that you didn't need to do, and then he himself didn't contact, which is like 101 journalism.
You're getting an email.
Do you think it's fair journalism?
You should have got it already.
No, well, I haven't gotten it. It's been over a week. So I'm calling you now.
You should be arriving very shortly.
So Mark, let me ask you, can you name me right now?
Can
you, Mark, can you name for me a single piece of disinformation that I've spread on Syria? Can you do it right now? Can you name for me? Can you name for me? Go ahead.
You can see the neck getting redder and redder.
Mark, can you identify a single piece of disinformation that I've spread on Syria?
He's not worth it.
You can't.
Your blood pressure is not worth it.
This email will be completely explanatory.
So, sorry, Mark, you took the time to write a whole article about me. Can you not answer a couple of questions? Just give me a straight answer.
Very, very good.
Well, you called me the leading purveyor of disinformation.
That was in a report.
It was in a report that you didn't. And by the way, can you also explain why you didn't include in your article that the report is funded by states that are actually belligerent in the topic you're writing about, which is Syria?
Look.
Why not mention that?
Why didn't you mention the cylinders? Why the fuck?
Are you answering the question or no?
I've got a dash. Okay, you get this email.
Of course you do.
To that, okay, in the proper manner. Okay.
Well, I'm calling you right now, so I'd love to hear just one. I'd love to hear one answer. Why not contact me? Why not include the fact that the report you're being a stenographer for is funded by belligerents in the Syria proxy war? And why not name a single piece of disinformation that I've spread when you're calling me the top spreader of disinformation on Syria? Just name one. Can you do that?
Okay. As I said, respond to the email. It should have arrived. It will be very short.
This email. What's the mode? I always want to ask, what's the mode of transportation?
Oh, well, so you're going to answer these questions in an email? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, he's saying that I need to talk to my editor.
So you're saying you're going to answer the questions
like, did you
of
send
why you
this
didn't
email
contact
by
me
post? Like,
prior to printing? Okay, you're not answering my question. Are you going to answer the questions I've laid out?
Look, all due respect, we're going to run in circles, okay?
I love the
show. Because you can't give me a single answer. Because you can't give me a single answer.
Somebody's making tea for Eric.
And what you're repeating is you're not going to answer any questions. That's what I'm hearing from you.
That's not what I'm saying.
Not worth it. My son.
Will you be answering the questions? Okay, Mark. Okay, Mark. Can you give me one straight answer? Mark. Will you answer the questions that I've laid out for you in both writing and in this phone call, in an email? Will you answer those questions?
No, Aaron, he's not gonna.
Can I get one straight answer? Will you answer those questions?
Look, for the 18th time, you're going to get an email in which you can respond properly. Okay?
Okay, and when can I expect this email?
That's as simple as that, okay? I can't keep saying that over and over again.
Well, what you're saying is, but you're saying you're going to send me an email, but you won't even commit to answering my questions. So I
That's your meeting, okay?
Yeah, okay, right. I understand you have a meeting, but I understand you're pressed. For some reason, you didn't have the time to call me before printing a really incendiary claim about me. But I understand now you have to dash for a meeting. So I'm sorry if I'm not very sympathetic to you, okay?
You got to be like that. You got to be like that. They'll say you get an email which will explain it all, okay?
Which will explain what? Will it answer my questions? Will the email answer my questions? Can you tell me that?
You can respond.
Hey, Mark, will the email answer the questions you haven't answered yet? Will it? Yes or no?
You get the email. We're just wasting each other's time.
Oh,
yes,
but now we're wasting each other's time.
Because you won't answer a question.
I don't know if we should play anymore, but I would just want to say that the reason that this Mark guy isn't being super rude on the phone or he didn't hang up is because he knows he's really in the wrong. And that Aaron is absolutely in the right.
Yeah, I think so. I'm surprised he didn't hang up. I would have said, oh, I can't hear you. Tunnel. I would have hanged up.
I mean, he wouldn't have known that he's recording, but maybe
I wouldn't gone with I have to dash to a meeting and then continue for another 10 minutes to talk to
dash.
It's a dash to this meeting, but the meeting can wait. Hang on. You'll get an email, and in the email we'll lay out our plan to respond to you within the next decade. Like, what is?
That's what it sounded like. It's as if like a company was sending over a proposal and they're like, just wait until tomorrow. You're going to have all the information, all the PDFs, all the links in this email. It was too funny. But man, so I don't know if you have much to say.
Aaron needs to let it go. I
want to get to the article for a bit after. For a second.
I like to say something though. Look at Aaron here. And this has been the worst development regarding Aaron Maté. For a short while, when he was on Useful Idiots, after people, frankly, rightly so, came out in droves and publicly condemned his, frankly, what only can be described as his idiotic haircut. I mean, what the fuck is this, Aaron?
Well, seriously, Aaron, you can also call it a bowl haircut.
Bold, yeah.
Bowl, a bowl.
Oh, like... bowl, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's offensive, yes. A bowl haircut. But yeah, he changed it for a while. He would push it up. Then it's been a month or so. It's back to this idiotic curls to fringe curl.
But what would you suggest them to do? Cut it much shorter?
He put it like you. He put it up a bit or do anything but this, frankly. Anything. Do a mohawk. I don't know, anything. Just don't do this.
Someone recently just got this haircut too, and it looked so funny and stupid. Who was it?
Who, you or Aaron?
No, someone.
Oh,
got this haircut. I can't remember, and they were like, someone put the wrong bowl on your head and cut it. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that it feels like literally his mom is like putting the ball on his head and just going. It's just, and he was good. Like you achieved better, and then you went back. This is ridiculous.
The gel part with that New York heat, I guess you couldn't do it.
Couldn't hold up against
You're wearing shorts here at Grey Zone HQ. But,
I don't know. Yeah,
but this article, by the way, this article is based, and it was written in June. So when did that phone call happen? Wow. It's based on a quote unquote like report. And this report, all it does, it just decides that decides that some people are misinformation spreaders, and then it narrows them down, and then it counts the number of tweets and Facebook messages that they made. And because Aaron at one point quantitatively out of all these people tweeted more, they classified, of course, all of them as like conspiracy or blah blah or disinformation, and then they're like, okay, Aaron is
the leading one.
It's too funny. But some of the other things that caught my attention are these hyperlinks. Now maybe there's some interesting information behind these hyperlinks. Let's just quickly open any of them. This one, the new analysis contained a report by the Syria campaign. Okay, let me
just lead to books, right, with references.
Let me see. So one of them is to the report. The other one is to the report. A Guardian article from over a year ago.
fucking idiot.
And my favorite one, and another article, of course, by Syria White Helmets from 2017, online propaganda finds semi-relevant. And then the Syria one just takes you to the Syria page. I mean, I don't know, because I feel like these hyperlinks, they give a sense of legitimacy.
I know,
right?
I agree,
From a distance, at least. You're like, okay, at least, you know, I'm sure if I click here, it's going to give me, and yeah, like one of them,
by a proper
little bit.
source or whatever.
But yeah.
Yeah,
and then, of
it's
course,
like
some of them took to
Wikipedia,
the
yeah.
report, so that was good. But yeah, and I tried to look into the methodology of the report, and they pretty much went by keywords, and some keywords for them and some key phrases meant conspiracy. So then they just labeled all those people as conspiracy theorists, and then someone sat there and counted one tweet.
Excel file.
And then, yeah, and then it led to
I mean,
this.
from the, frankly, the
Oh, it's
design of
horrible.
the report, from the design of the report, you can tell it's been written by 5-year-olds who really like their, you know, bright colors. Let's just say.
And
So-
then they talk about, they use this, and through this they put together a timeline. And the timeline of this information
we leave from when to
is literally like a timeline of different events. 30th of September, Russia's parliament grants Putin's request to launch airstrikes. I mean, I didn't get it. Honestly, like I need to look at this timeline thing more closely, because to me it just seemed like, you know, just random things. The White Helmets are nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
How is that timeline in this information? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe somewhere maybe I'm, you know, cherry picking a
man.
bit, but
Can you believe they got paid for that? That's what pisses me off, not Aaron Maté.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Let's move on and revisit the infamous Katie Halper debate. I mean, this was beyond debate. This was fight live on air. So you think around the 48-minute is good? So, oh, your microphone is. Do you have your microphone on?
No.
You see here, I'm an audio technician, producer, host,
editor. I'm the talker. But yeah. I would say, just to give a bit of context, that
I still can't hear you very loudly. Is that okay? All right, go ahead. Now it's me.
Come on, man. I do my best. You don't have to do it. But yeah, I would say that I watched it, and having watched it again, I like to take back some of my, like, it's not as once, they are both awful. It's not as one-sided. I thought one of them was far more awful, but no, really, they're both pretty awful. They both talk over, like, they don't even address each other's questions. Rabia, she's far worse, but they're pretty both awful. And go to minute 48 or 47, okay. I think.
Here's 1 second of Katie's awesome intro.
Yeah, the intro is
They were.
All right, 47-ish.
Traditional role of releasing more oil into the market to tamp down prices. So instead of just setting the price for you, and that means the oil companies will have to take some loss. Oh no.
This is where it all goes wrong.
The spigot and let the market decide. But Saudi Arabia is not really interested in this. And we know that because MBS has been talking to China about buying oil in yuans and so, but unfortunately, while they've had a 2-month truce, they're still not lifting the blockade. So a lot of food can't come into the main part of Yemen, which is the northern area, which the Saudis are blockading with U.S. aircraft and a lot of U.S. help. So,
Isha, you know I'm from the north, right? And my parents are currently, there's Houthis in the north.
From north,
the problem is the Houthis have, and this is an honest, and by the way, I'm supposedly part of the Houthi family because I'm from the north and I'm Zaidi, and you know how that works, right? The Houthis take a lot.
Can you explain how that works? I don't.
So,
I don't.
Right. The Houthis are Yemenis. They're from a region north of Yemen, which is Sada, and they are part of the Zaydi sort of Hashemite kingdom that rules.
Hashemite means they're related to the king of Jordan, basically.
Yeah, well, the
Hashemite means kingdom of Jordan, king, and many other kingdoms. Hashemites are all the people who sort of claim descendancy, including you yourself. You're all Hashemite in a sense because you're all related to the. Did you say amen? Hey, yeah, Hashemite, go. Yeah, Hashemite, Hashemi. In everybody in Iran, you must have heard that name, Hashemi. It's it's the tribe of Muhammad and I believe Ali, so that's why it's very crucial. Zaydis are not Hashemite in a sense that they're related to Kingdom of Jordan. Zaydis they differ from mainstream Shia. They only have 5 imams. Then the 5 main imams. Then they have different type of imam and all that. And I think Rabia, I believe. Here does an awful job or on purpose misleading job of representing them. It's kind of like saying the British, the British people believe that the Queen should be the head of the state. Like, their belief in Imam is the equivalent of British belief in having a king as a head of state. You know what I mean? It's not, they don't believe in an infallible entity. You know what I mean? Okay. It's not some supernatural belief. But maybe you play it and I see. She could. But connecting to Hashemite is just weird because they are more Shia. They are Hashemite. Almost all Shias are Hashemite, but it's not. When you say Hashemite, people think of Sunni kingdom. So it's weird. But yeah. I see.
Hashemites ruled Yemen for over 1,000 years. They're the minority because they believe that they have the God-given right. They're supremacists. They're literally the supremacists of Yemen.
That's a lie.
Right? I don't believe in that ideology.
Supremacists. That's a big, in my view, that's extremely stupid to say. Supremacist of Yemen. It's extremely, I mean, of course, Shia, I'm sure there is prejudice between Shias and Sunnis, both sides, but it's not, they're not supremacist, as in, I guess she's trying to draw
anybody in power thinks they're supremacist. I mean, it's always like this. It's not that unique, if anything.
They're not, sorry, anybody in power?
Yeah, you always think you're the one and your way is the right way, or at least you present it that way. I mean, that's just how anybody in power is, right? Like all governments around the world, from all religious and cultural backgrounds.
No, you're right. Maybe I'm reading too much into it because I assumed supremacists has racial undertones in it. Maybe.
No, I think she kind of means like, their way is the way or something. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know. Let's see a bit more.
Like the dictatorial.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought they believed that they were direct descendants of the Prophet.
I'm sorry for that.
That's correct.
Not the Hashemites, not all Hashemites, by the way. I'm talking about the Houthis and their ideology and why they feel that they have the right to rule over Yemenis.
Here's why they think
it is literally them saying that we have the God-given right. Muhammad, our direct descendant, we're the direct descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, has given us the wilaya, which is the right to rule over Yemen, whether they like it or not. It is a purely supremacist ideology. It is wrong, and a lot of Hashemites that don't adhere to that ideology are also against them. That is just a fact, Isha.
Can you pause?
They are militia.
But that is so common, and she's doing just the thing that I see all the time in Iran, which is they read, they're like, okay, this person said this is what they mean, and yeah, this is what they do. I mean, who cares? Anybody in power is going to justify it with this kind of bullshit and stuff. It's the realities on the ground and how you can implement them. The most important thing, repeating what they say word by word as if, okay, well, now you've provided the ultimate evidence.
No. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is beyond that. All royal families in Arab world and half of Iranian sort of not aristocratic family, whatever you want to call them, Turks, Pakistanis, they all claim descendants from
everybody and their
Hashemites,
mother
and they claim
descendancy from the truth.
Muhammad.
Not the Hashemans here. One is that, one is Republican, one is Jesus, one is Jesus' cousin that you don't know about. Like this is not a unique thing the way she's presenting it.
Ibn Saud, they don't justify their rule based on some sort of a democratic concept. They also claim to be one of the original tribes that
everyone's an original.
You know what I mean? Like it's not that's she's pretending as if they're this weird cult. And again, in a way, look, as far as I'm concerned, all religions are weird cults. But let's not single out Houthis as some.
And by the way, this interview, so sorry, we're presuming because in our episode of the Four Corners of Geopolitics, we set it up more. So sorry, we're kind of assuming that you watched that as well. But yeah, Katie had kind of invited these two to complement each other and talk about, you know, Biden's trip to Saudi. But as we can see, that's really not the way that it went. And Katie's starting to realize
There's two big fights. Yeah, there are two big fights. One here over this, and then one over Ukraine.
Yeah,
and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
Katie's like, I didn't sign up for this. Now you guys are forcing me to pay attention and possibly having to intervene. But let's see.
I was trying to do some reading.
Why they became so powerful, and they were able to come and fill up this vacuum, this power vacuum, in 2014, is that prior to that, for almost a decade, the president at the time, Ali Abdullah Saleh, waged 6 wars against them that we all were against. That they were they were how do you say, oppressive wars. They were supported by the Saudis, and Ali Abdullah Saleh was part of their family. He was a Zaidi as well, because of he was the entire time talking about.
Yeah, he was Zaidi, but he didn't he betrayed them very early on, and he was part of the national Zaidis. It's forgotten, but Yemen used to be 2 kingdoms, and before it was 2 kingdoms, it was under Zaidi Shia rule. Then it became 2 kingdoms. Then it became a Sunni, I think, republic. And so she's giving a very and you know, she keeps talking about, this is what I hate about the left. You know what I hate about the left? People like her who are like, oh, we were against wars of Saleh against Houthis. Now we are against war of Houthi against this. So it is liberal, like you're against everything. Anybody makes any moves, you're like, oh, this could lead to the, like, everybody should just stay and just die as they are for liberals to be happy. Nobody does anything except watching TV and going, that's all, like, that's all you should ever do. Like, you know, it's like, okay, whatever, good for you, you go to heaven.
About how, you know, the Houthis want to come out and take over Yemen, and they want to take us, you know, get rid of the republic that was formed in 1967 for the first time ever, when the Yemeni population stood up against the Imam and his rule. So there is a long history. The majority of Yemenis are not Houthis. The majority of Yemenis are anti-militia. They want a republic. They want a democratic process.
Anti-militia.
But the Houthis feel like it is a God-given right.
Democratic
what I've been hearing from many within the Houthi movement, the more moderate voices, is that they also want a solution to this conflict. There is fatigue on their side. They can't hold up for too long. I don't care if they have 1,000 Scud missiles that it's just talking about that's going to reach Saudi Arabia or whatever it is. They also see that there's got to be some sort of solution. They can't. Before all this started, they were part of the transitional government. There was negotiations on how to include them to be part of this government, because they are, at the end of the day, part.
Yeah, that went very well.
Representation, right?
Famously.
So that's just a little, very, very short summary of like the Houthi movement.
But it doesn't matter. I was just saying that because they are capable of destroying oil production is why Saudis are. Do you disagree with that, or do you think Saudis are coming to?
I'm sorry, you should say that again.
I said because the Houthis are capable of destroying Saudi's oil production is why Saudis are. I was making no moral judgment.
No, I agree with you. Actually, okay. In fact, 3 months ago, 3 months ago, in fact, there was a couple of, I think, like you said, drone missiles that even hit Abu Dhabi in the UAE. Yep. So they're definitely, of course, that fear from the UAE, who is now for the past 15 to 20 years. By the way, they haven't been a part of this conflict for the last 3 to 4 years because they know that there's no military solution. They know they're losing at the end of the day. And they have.
I think you can fast forward to some more juicy bits.
They're trying to pilgrimage because whether they're
they seem to be conflating like Shias and Sunnis, and they're not equivalent, of course, because the literacy rate in Iran before the revolution was around 32%, and the literacy rate in Iran after the revolution is almost at 100%. So to compare the Iranian revolution with any of the
who's talking?
Are you
extremists
is 100%
wrong, and
in Iran? This is what I don't like about the left. I'm sorry, Isha, with all due respect.
I'm sorry, but you didn't. Can you let me?
With all due respect, I fucking hate you.
Okay, so so the Islamic Revolution in Iran is completely different, and to compare them with ISIS is just not.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. Because look at the literacy rate. Okay, look at the female literacy rate.
I'm not.
Look at all the facilities. Look at how many women are graduating from college in Iran. And
hold on one second. Hold on. Okay, wait. I got to figure out how to do this.
Man, like literally for the past 3 minutes, this Rabia, or minute or two, this Rabia lady spoke at the same time as the Shal was speaking. The only thing is she doesn't even have like a shitty microphone, so you can't barely hear her. So she's lucky that she has a better microphone, so she's kind of like being able to make her point. But man, this part she comes off like, oh, it's just so off-putting. I could never listen to this person again. I'm honestly like getting really pissed off right now.
It's okay, cameos. Have some tea like Adam. But we get some more of this fight. Then we get to the. I think then we get to the producer. Then Ukraine. I think we should play a bit of the producer bit and Ukraine bit. So.
How do I? All right. All right.
I got to talk for a long time, so I need the equivalent time, I think.
Okay.
You do, but can I respond to that, Isha?
No, you can't, because you didn't even let me respond to your first point. So of your false equation. So me finish responding to your first point.
Yeah, and which I said, I mean, yesterday we went into more detail than ways, and Sam told me about some things, but in general, comparing the Iranian government currently as a state to ISIS is insanely ridiculous, if you ask to me, unless you go down some nuanced paths and show it. Yeah. No, that's not even defending one being good or another. It's just an apple to oranges, as they say.
Yeah.
Comparison for me at this surface, at this level.
So let's not conflate the. Okay, the Khomeini revolution was against the Shah of Iran, who was a U.S.-backed puppet, and that was the Islamic Revolution, which actually they built a lot of infrastructure.
So you guys are U.S.-backed.
And anybody who wants to hear this, we really talked about all of this a lot in detail in the four corners of geopolitics. And, Sam put forward his position, how the Shah wasn't always, at the very least, a puppet of the US. And in fact, yeah. I don't know how much of it we can get back into now, because that would be hard.
We can't. Yeah. It's too long. So, but yeah.
Having said that, let me take you back to...
having said that, I have a pitch deck ready. PowerPoint presentation. So, we start with 2,000 years. Cyrus walks to Babylon.
The literacy rate under the Shah, literacy, as in only 35% of the people under the Shah could read. Now it's almost at 100%. And also Iran is doing a lot of investment in wind energy. And so to compare that is ridiculous. Also,
Iran is doing
in every single way,
energy.
like ISIS crucifies Christians.
Iran is not doing shit.
In Iran, there are plenty of Christians. So that is just a ridiculous comparison.
That was a bit better, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm not done yet.
I'm not completing anything.
No, yes, you are. Okay, hold on. I'm not ready. I need to finish my point because you got to make your point about Islam. So, of course, there is many branches of Islam, and there is one problematic branch that ISIS stems from, and that is exclusively Wahhabism. But I actually do not.
She's so rude, this lady on top.
On top. Why is she laughing like that? I mean, we may make fun of the hand movements, but we're not in front of her,
First of all, with all due respect, Isha, you are a Muslim woman, I'm a Muslim woman.
I'm not Muslim, but whatever.
This is
Where
so
did
great.
She get that up? But who was the Baghdadi that she just said? Is that the... Who did she say is Shia? Who is she referring to here? Hold on, listen closely.
Branches of Islam, and there is one problematic branch that ISIS stems from, and that is exclusively Wahhabism. But I actually do not. You don't think ISIS can, or Salafism?
Are you kidding me? You know al-Baghdadi is a Shia Amir, right? Oh.
Who's al-Baghdadi?
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, I guess. I guess that's the only person comes to my mind. Is it Shia? I doubt it.
What, that's the leader of...
That was the leader of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, was the leader of ISIS, or the alleged leader. I mean,
if she's so certain about it, it has to be... But like, I mean, in any way, I mean, of course, ISIS and Al-Qaeda thinking does come from that branch of Shia, of Sunni Wahhabism, no?
Yes, it does.
Was he Iraqi?
Sunni Islam, according to Wikipedia, Sunni Islam.
But is this the right person? No, did I click on the right person here? Abu
Bakr. That's the only al-Baghdadi I know. Maybe there are al-Baghdadi involved in Yemeni politics we don't know of.
Yes,
it's
Sunni
a common
Islam.
Name. It's a very common family name. So no, he was definitely Sunni Islam.
But why would she be? I mean, I'm a bit suspicious because she's just so confident in that
maybe
statement.
Because he's from Iraq, she thought he's Shia. Or maybe go down, maybe he was of Shia, like he converted to Sunni Islam. Go down to his early life.
Hold on.
Because it is from Iraq, so it could be.
But I mean, Shia comes up here that talks about neighborhood ones.
No, okay, no, go up.
It was historians.
To his early life education.
No, I mean, I command F Shia and nothing came up, but yeah, I'll go to that. But I mean, it would have been there. It would have came up in the command F.
Even if he's a secular Iraqi, his parents were secular Iraqis, it means they were probably Shia. So. Born in no, that Samara does not sound. No, they are Quraysh. No, this is
mostly a Sunni tribe.
Sunni tribe.
Anyway, let's not waste our time with this lady's statements. She was just so sure, or we're missing something.
Maybe she's the only thing I can think of is maybe she's thinking of another Baghdadi.
But here she brought up ISIS, so I mean, you know what, she can be talking about a random Baghdadi she met at the store.
Like some Yemeni I have no idea.
Oh my God, where you don't know this information? All right, I have to respond.
That's the rudest thing to ever say to anyone. You don't know this information.
You don't know this. Yeah.
First of all,
especially in someone's face, I think making fun of them.
I'm not Muslim, but whatever.
You're a Muslim woman. I'm a Muslim. Don't you dare speak back to me? Like, where was she going with that?
Yeah, exactly. And she's not a Muslim woman. That's the best. It's like that used to happen to me so much. Like, you're a Muslim man. Don't you understand? Like, no.
You're a human. I'm a human. We still don't understand. Like,
trying to whitewash extremism and say, oh no,
I'm not whitewashing it. I'm just telling you the truth about what I see with the data.
He's a Shia.
I don't care like what your dad is. I want you to bring in facts.
So right, you've heard of Mosul, right?
By the way, she goes on to defend MBS's efforts, and she is claiming the other person is whitewashing.
Under Shia. I'm so sorry. I don't want to curse, but this gets me really upset.
But it seems like you have a personal issue and you're not bringing any data.
Wait, Isha, please.
Bring data.
Don't you dare tell me that don't conflate both. They are all...
No, they are way different because, for example, there are women in Hezbollah. There are not...
You don't have that in the Middle East, by the way.
Who cares about the hijab? People can wear scarves or not, but there are more important rights, like whether or not women have the right to education, whether or not women have a right to salary. And I'm sorry.
Second-class citizens. I am not justifying. At least let's be honest.
You are conflating Wahhabism with.
It's a pointless argument because what Rabia is doing is trying to do an ideological comparison between extremism of both sides, and Aishal is focusing on a specific points. I would like to add, yes, Iranian women now almost, like it's been for many years, Iranian women go to university at a higher education rate than men. But I forgot to mention this in geopolitics of Four Corners of Geopolitics, even though I mentioned it early on. What we see in Iran is a spreading of instrumental rationality in favor of genuine, in my view, rationality. For example, we have many women police officers, but what kind of police are they? They dress in religious clothes, they enforce religious, like, you know, they very much are like that evil lady from Game of Thrones who used to torture the queen. She was the religious police, sort of. We have a name for them. We sometimes call them Fatima Commando, as in, you know, the Fatima who is a commando, so that type thing. And they're like, you know, you have many women who are, but humanities has almost completely pretty much been wiped out of universities and even high schools. In fact, humanities, now they're trying to do some Islamic humanities, which is almost worse than no humanities, frankly. So, you know, I think, yeah, you have to be very nuanced about, you know, okay, there was progress. It's like my grandfather was in love with Reza Shah, the great old Shah. And he always used to say, you know, before Reza Shah, we didn't have any roads. Before Reza Shah, we didn't have any electricity. And, you know, I'm sorry, but the electricity wasn't invented before Reza Shah. What do you want? Like the previous kings, like travel to, in future, or you know what I mean? Like, or like, you know, it wasn't like Reza Shah was so happy about, oh, I get to give electricity to everyone. He was forced to. Islamic Republic was, my mother was one of the people who was kicked out of university because she like wouldn't wear hijab when teaching. A lot of people, like, this is the progress of women in Iran happened despite the effort of Islamic Republic to stop it, not 100%. Because of it.
Yeah,
that's very crucial.
That I agree, but I mean, you know, a few things. This lady seems to just be saying that like two bad things are the same, which, like, you know, it's just not a helpful way of looking at things, right? It's not useful looking at them in that way.
And you know, when we say American government and Iranian government are all the same too, we are saying the same thing, but it's at a ideological, and really it doesn't help when you're addressing a case study. It helps when you're maybe talking philosophically or something like that.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, with the stats, I agree. Listen, some stats you have to be, the thing is, like, you know, I'm pretty sure whether the Shah was in power or whoever was in power, I'm pretty sure by now literacy rates would have been quite high or higher. I think it has more to do with the historical trend of the 20th century than one government specific acts when it comes to literacy,
or even one regime's
acts. I mean, literacy is, I think literacy, you can go country by country regardless of the country, and literacy rates have gone up over the past 50 years.
No, I mean, but it's worth like looking wherever there is energy, wherever there is, for example, industry. It's far different from, you can compare Central Asia to Southwest Asia, and you see the difference. Southwest Asia has energy, Central Asia doesn't, and you see the lack of infrastructure, the lack of.
But I'm saying education levels are probably up there too, though, compared to what they were previously.
Compared to
compared to themselves, yeah. I mean, all these stats are relative to your own country. I'm just saying, you know, I mean, European countries, even, I'm sure the trends, so like you go to the US, everywhere,
I mean, I'm just saying different countries are in different structural positions, and they affect them differently, and it can be positive and negative. You know, it's very mixed. It's too simplistic. But the thing is, Rabbi lady was putting such idiotic arguments forward that I really feel like I'm criticizing Eshal always unfairly, because it felt like she never could finish her argument in a proper manner.
No. And her, when she was talking, she was doing all these things. But yeah, so where's the producer?
And I do not have that.
Go ahead.
Your voice is aura. Isha, you know this. Why do you do this to yourself? Why are you the enemy of women? Don't do this to yourself.
Why are you enemy of the woman? That's low, man. That's low. These kind of name calling.
That's very low blow.
So do you see the producer's face, or does he just chime in audio?
I think you just hear him.
He doesn't pop in?
Oh, it's before this. Before this, he pops in a bit. After this, he pops into.
Right? Biden, what would you do?
It's gonna be hard to find it like this.
Consumer goods, which
Lady on.
You
just before Nixon.
Nixon did with.
Man, it's gonna be hard.
Oh no, yeah. Go ahead. It's further.
Like he did in 1970.
There is one further.
Oh, and then they just kicked out the lady?
No. She videoed this stuff.
What were you surprised by what happened when Biden visited?
I think he's the name.
With Bin Salman.
Oh, this is where they agree
I'm gonna.
a bit.
The United States has best policy.
Yeah, too bad. It's gonna be hard finding the guy now.
All right, but yeah, play some of the Ukraine bit. Go further.
Where is
down.
that?
It gets pretty crazy soon. Here, I think. Go.
But doesn't the Ukraine thing involve a video?
No. It's here. That's the producer.
Stop.
Yeah, no.
Let's see what he says.
Why would I kid him?
To try to convince mainstream Dems
but she called me QAnon, and if she's gonna do that, I have to show this.
She did. She calls her QAnon. I forgot about that. She said this is QAnon shit about Ukraine.
What is wrong with this lady? She's the worst of the worst. I hope I never see her again.
Like she said, it was
okay.
Brad,
I just wanted to interject two things. Aisha, the video link that you had sent me was a duplicate of
again.
what
Look
we had
at how
played
nice
before.
they are.
And I muted both of you because no offense, but because of the platform, whenever more than one person talks, no one can hear anything, nothing. So if it could be one at a time, whether that's, everyone that's not speaking is muted, if it has to be like that.
And if no one has anything to say, let's just wrap this.
No, I love how he's like, because of the platform, when two people talk, nobody can, as if, if you're in the room with two people, they talk at the same time, you can't hear them. What are you talking? Like when two people talk, you can't understand either. The sounds mix.
Too funny. Hold on.
And be like, the teacher in the classroom, okay, but
yes, do that. I should have done this. It's hard for me to listen to what people are
But
saying and mute them. So I should have actually had you do this, Brad, from the beginning, and just said give the mic to this person, give the mic to that person. But I do want to make sure we see the Stephen King video.
Have to
Asha,
share.
hold on, we can't hear you.
Okay. This guy, his name is Ruslan P.
But go further back for some of the feisty bits. Go further back when they are fighting. The Stephen King thing.
But where do you have any ideas? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, wait. Go further. Yeah, go here, where your mouse was. No
motives related to geopolitical, strategic motives, right? Lloyd Austin talked about how
Ukraine had
that is. I'm nuanced.
Yeah,
I understand that. I also understand that people are going to have their
tired.
Everything's expensive at home. People don't care anymore, and they're going to lose interest in this war. I know that. We all know that, right? But you can't come tell me, oh yeah, this is Putin came into Ukraine.
What did he say? His words were demilitarization, denazification.
Right. Well, I mean, to be fair,
it's crazy.
We
all know why Putin might have felt
Putin's exact words. I'm not going to go mind reading. There's a video where he said denazification, demilitarization.
Yeah, but to be fair, Esha, I basically agree. I mean, I'm much closer to your position on Russia, Ukraine than I am to Rabia's. But to be fair, we don't take governments' words at face value.
Okay,
I mean, you could argue
that's why I meant
I
was too nice.
Like, just because he said that,
who can argue?
No. But
say
that
why doesn't
the Russian government? But do we have any evidence that they're doing anything to the contrary?
And its borders. Isha, if you were a little bit more rational about this, you would say, okay,
do we have,
you know what, NATO, when you're
all right,
you got it.
Yeah, no, that was.
But
Katie was like, "Oh, Russia, Ukraine. I know about that." Aaron Mattis told me about that.
I've heard the name Syria. Cylinders. Yeah, I mean, I love how the producer had to step in and literally say, "I don't want to be a teacher, but come on."
But he stepped in so late; it's over.
Well, yeah.
All right, Sam. Okay, let's move on to our rising segment. Let's maybe power through some of these. Maybe some you'll have more to say and talk about them, and then we'll get to our articles. So yeah, we just saw Katie, and Katie has joined the rising now too. They really have a host. Someone in there has like some kind of obsession with booking new hosts. They really need to seek out help for this producer or something. This person has an addiction.
I mean, I used to be not as like, you used to say, oh, these people keep finding, and I was like, no, it's not that weird, but no, it is getting weird. And I believe this is not fair. Brianna basically finding gigs for her friends. Like every other week, Brianna is like, oh, I'm sick. Oh, I'm in France. Oh, I'm blah. Oh, Olaimi has to come on. Oh, now Katie has to come on. Now my brother has to. What is going on?
And Robbie's always there though. Robbie's not giving the place to another libertarian. Once that lady came with her gun, would have kicked them off the show, but that was
the
it.
Pregnant, weaponized lady. I don't know. Yeah, the ice cold whatever queen.
She probably locked him in his apartment for that.
Yeah, I need this gig. Okay, this baby needs it.
Man, now I see why Robbie never goes on holidays. He knows even if you think about a holiday on Rising.
Bring one of her friends. Quickly, you're replaced by one of Bri's like guests. The drug guy suddenly shows up. Hello, have you heard about heroin?
But yeah, so Matt Taibbi was here. What was he talking about here? I don't know if you have much to touch on here.
I forgot. I don't know.
Something about corruption or something, if I'm not mistaken, or money, banks. I don't know. But here I think you'll have more to say.
What is this one? Let's see.
Biden cancer. So where is it?
Let's play this.
But where?
Oh, I
him here actually. Does Biden say it himself?
Yeah, okay. Biden says yeah.
Does Katie have a funny joke before it or no?
No, not.
No.
Let's listen.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us. And
hold on, what is this about though? What is this about? Tell me.
It's oil industry in Delaware.
Oh, okay.
It's about how oil industry.
I just needed some context there because it threw me off with a personal anecdote.
Me and Corn Pop were in the pool, and in the pool there was so much oil, man. And my mom was like, "Joe, come on, man, can't be in oil. Oil is bad for you, man."
Let's see what Joe had to say.
Rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? It had to put on their windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer.
Yeah, and then I saw Glenn Kessler, the Washington Post.
But what was he trying to say instead of that?
No, he
just wanted to remove the I. He wanted to just say that's why a lot of people have cancer, I think.
I guess, or now his team are claiming he had some kind of a benign, like sort of a skin cancer, melanoma or something, and like he got it removed. And it's possible. I mean, look, man, he might be just having flashbacks to when he had like some mole on his arm removed because the doctor said it's potential cancer. I have like, who knows what the fuck like you're asking me to look into a mind of a dead man.
Yeah, but one part he did such a it was just such a Joe Biden thing. Like, and you know what?
I love the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what happened? The first frost came. First, what the fuck is first frost anyway? Like, is that the first snow of the year?
Yeah.
The first
and then what did I? Yeah. I needed more context there for that.
No, because there was oil industry there, so the pollution would rain down on them, I guess, or something. Yeah, like acid rain. So I guess he could be talking about Ninja Turtles for all I know. Yeah, man. Me and Michelangelo were just going through the sewage, and then there was this gooey black thing, man. And I told Michelangelo, "Come on, man, don't touch it." And then he touched it, and it was a big turtle with swords.
All right. Anything else with this video?
No, this was awesome.
Now here, this is a short one, 2 minutes and 56. I don't know if there are parts that you want to play, but this is about
man, this is awesome.
Our boy Hunter.
No, just put this picture up. Maybe you want to read the message, the blue one.
So,
in text.
Too funny.
This which one is Joe?
No one is Joe. It's I think it's Hunter to somebody else.
Oh, and Hunter's the one in blue, I guess.
The blue one, I think.
And Dad's running for president.
Yeah, I mean the message is so funny, man. The message is like confessional of a. It's
why,
so...
Hallo, are you so mad, Hallie?
Why, Hallo, are you so mad, Haley?
Because you should be doing everything in your power to be sober before anything else. If you're not able to do it on your own, then you need to go away.
Man.
You still want to do it your way, which isn't working. Time and life are passing by. Okay, this is from 2018.
This is like I guess it's a concerned citizen. I imagine.
Yeah, or like probably like a friend, like maybe like a sponsor.
Yeah.
You're right, Hallie. And I find myself, because I've chosen to alienate all my friends, I'm very alone in dealing with rebuilding an income that can support an enormous drug problem, so alimony, and my kids' costs and myself. Dealing with the aftermath of the abduction and likely assassination of my business partner, the richest man in the world, the arrest and conviction of my client, the chief of intelligence of the peoples of China and the U.S. government by the U.S. government, the retaliation of the Chinese in the ouster and arrest of my suspected involvement in brokering a deal with Putin directly into China, a tax bill that Eric left hanging over my business, and Dad's running for president.
And Dad's right.
I mean, I've heard like a few things they've said he's involved. I don't think anybody's like. We said you got some money.
Also the drugs I bought yesterday from a drug dealer named John. He's just listing bullet points, all the crimes. Also, when I was 12, I took a sneaker bar from, it's just.
What is this? I don't understand. So what's the full story with these texts, you know?
Well, these are the texts that they've hacked. This is Haley's, her brother's video, the one he has slept with. Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, he's. I feel like he's trying to find his way back into, like he's trying to humble brag, like like I am so sad because my business partner, who's also the second biggest business person in the world, was kidnapped. I also feel so bad because I brokered the deal between Putin and my dad, who's running for president, by the way.
And just 1 second here.
I don't know.
And this part threw me off the most. Why he had to write the People's Republic of China. I mean, in this message where you're writing and Dad's running in this way, writing Dad's like this, you had to spell out the People's Republic of China. In Chinese, it's actually this, and as this.
Yeah, pronounce the Middle Kingdom. Yeah,
like take it easy. I mean, proper grammar anywhere else, but this you had to.
You put your finger on the exact right thing. I think this is a bullshit fake message. Chinese broke into his mobile phone, and as you know, Chinese people, whenever it's drilled into them, even when they're like a spies and stuff, whenever you mention China, they go People's Republic of China.
Yeah, what other China? How many Chinas do we have?
Taiwan is not China. Okay, man, calm down. We don't even recognize Taiwan. Okay. Yeah. So Hunter is being Hunter. Awesome, as always.
But I thought it was Joe Biden who was texting because
the big guy.
Because of Katie's joke here.
Right, the big guy is.
Oh, she was making fun of what's his name, Biden Jr. What's his name? The son.
Hunter.
Oh, Katie's making fun of
him. Joe Biden knew about this, and if he went along with it, and again, maybe the answer is no. I don't think we've seen any evidence thus far that Joe Biden was anything other than just kind of being supportive of his son, but you don't know, and that does have to be investigated.
Right. Yeah, it definitely has to be looked into. I mean, I honestly, again, think that this is beneficial for the Bidens for it to be investigated, because I think the bigger scandal is the suggestion that Hunter Biden is not subjected to kind of the rule of law that other people are.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
But I do hope we can look at some more texts from Joe Biden to Hunter, because they're hilarious. They're so Biden. They have all these grammatical errors, all these all caps, all these ellipses. So
Just
Hopefully those will
boomer,
be turned
boomer
into
text
evidence.
speech. Well, we're pre-boomer, right? It's the greatest generation.
Yeah, so what is she referring to? Maybe there's some messages somewhere we haven't
There
seen.
is loads. Yeah, there is a.
Yeah, not in this video
trove
though.
Of details.
Yeah.
No, not in this one. No.
Okay. All right, and then we have this one. We kind of wanted to listen to this one, but I say we skip this, given that 1 hour.
But
I don't know if it's the same
know...
day still. I mean, my wife could have left me by now. I don't know which year it is.
Yeah,
since we started this.
No, when we were talking about Katie, she actually appeared behind you, just saying, "I'm out of here," and I did this, and she went. But I would have liked to know what this. Well, who's this Dracula lookalike down there? I don't know who that is. But,
I think this is a recording from someone discussing inflation in the 90s. And then with someone discussing it around
someone
now.
in 80s.
Someone in Mad Men. Someone in Mad Men studio. But yeah, this is about inflation. I've listened to a bit, but yeah, no way you can't get into
why
this now.
Why the fuck the hell is bothering with this whole studio? Why are they doing this?
None of their people want to come in.
Yeah, like
it's just Robbie and Bri.
Robbie, Bri's not there most of the time.
And I think on Friday it acts as a daycare place for Ryan Grimm.
For Ryan, Emily Joy. Ryan gets some babysitting money by babysitting Emily for her parents. He earns some extra baby. She plays with Ryan's children. They're all the same age. It's like a playground.
Yeah, you're right though. Didn't Kim move to Washington for like 2 weeks? I swear she was saying I'm gonna move.
She was traveling. Yeah. Oh, maybe she said that.
But this was way before and it hasn't happened. Yeah.
She was on the Hills studio once, like she's been working for the Hill like for a year. She's only met her bosses once. Like they sent her a check. That's it.
Man, I'm sure, I bet you they rolled out the red carpet when she arrived. Kim is coming. Yeah. That's like the only host they have that people like.
Yeah. And Robbie is trying to get by just trying to stay quiet.
Robbie's like, don't share your views. Don't share your views.
Don't talk about gold standard. Don't talk about gold standard.
Okay, and this is just a random screenshot. I don't even know at this point what the topic could be. What the topic could possibly be. Hold on, I might have an idea. It's which ones? So inflation, Hunter Biden. Oh, probably Dave Chappelle, but we already moved Dave Chappelle and discussed them. Yeah,
I see. You're right. Yeah.
All right, Sam. Finally made it to our last two articles. So I mean, this article by Robert Reich seems so insightful. Just look at this headline.
It is.
As a 76-year-old, let me say, Joe Biden is too old to run again. I'm sure the president experiencing some diminution in the memory department. I know I am. I mean, this is just my favorite. People, analysts, something happens to them, and that's how they learn about it. I mean, that's...
No, this is like Robert Reich is not...
he's such a clown.
He's a clown. He doesn't have really like ideas.
He's just a nice
What
clown.
happened? He's very nice. He's he's a harmless clown.
Yeah,
yes.
Like I mean, even if like someone as pathetic as me calls him clown to his face, he'll be like,
oh man, why did you say that? That's not nice. Like but he's I think what has happened is that Biden's team and cabinet, they're like, okay, this guy,
you think so?
Motherfucker, he's not letting go of the presidency. Like we've been talking to him every time. Like we talk about maybe you should quit the presidency, sir, and go downstairs. He keeps talking about corn pop and the segregated pool they used to go to. So now they're trying to use somebody, and nowadays because you can only talk as
through the media.
No, through the media, and as you know, I am the only one in the world. And other Iranians that's allowed to talk about Iran. Nobody else. Like if you're black, like black people are only allowed to comment on black issues. Trans people on trans issues. gay people and gay issues, as you know. So what they had to do, they found the oldest liberal they could find, in this case, Robert Reich, who is 76 years old. And they're like, come on, man, you tell him. So I think that's what.
Honestly, man, honestly, I mean, I haven't read the article yet, but as soon as I read the headline, I was like, so is this like, inside like hints being sent that, that the Democratic Party itself might start saying that, yeah, Joe Biden might be too old and let's put someone else in. Like, I'm being big type vibes of like the beginning of perhaps such messaging. They're like, let's try it out in the Guardian. That's like
to be
like
honest,
phase 1 of trial. That's like when they try drugs on animals.
Yeah,
like, see how it goes here, and then we'll move to Washington Post, and then New York Times after this, and then we made it.
Yeah, I would say I frankly, to be honest, I doubt Biden thinks is even that organized. I think what this is a reflection
Democrats,
of the fact. Yeah,
the DNC.
Even the NC, man, Democrats, all of them. I think this is a reflection of that even in their own fucking bubble, it's looking so bad that even in their own bubble, some people are like, is this wrong? Is this a mistake to run basically a dead man like Weekend at Bernie's style for president?
I'd be like, listen, it won last time. Do you have anyone better to offer? No.
That's the problem. So that's the problem.
It is what it is. We'll shock him and send him in.
Yeah. Would you like a literal zombie or Pete Buttigieg? Zombie.
So yeah, he goes on to say at 79, Joe Biden is the oldest. I don't think this reflects an ageist prejudice against those serving. I speak with some authority, of course.
Yeah,
I'm now spiritually 76.
Only comes from experience, guys.
Listen, just because you're losing your memory, I mean, Chomsky, when he was 76, he had like the memory of like a 17-year-old, like that good.
Yeah, exactly. Chomsky is what, 105 now, and he's doing Olympics like chess.
Joe Biden could easily make it until 86. Now he's spelling the death of Joe Biden. The poor Joe Biden is like, Joe, you have a year or two in you, buddy.
Don't jinx it, man.
I feel fit. I swing dance and salsa.
Oh my God. Yeah. They can't even let go of their own fucking personal, like,
most of the time, I forget my age. I must admit, I've been forgetting my age since I'm 21, because it doesn't matter after 21. 21 is the last year that matters.
20, I feel,
and then now I know I'm north of 30.
27 is really the last year that matters, I think. But
after 21, I didn't care.
After 27, I was 27 for 4 or 5 years before I realized, oh shit, I'm 30 plus.
But I honestly forget. Like, do you forget how old you are for like a split second? Like,
no.
Yeah, I'm 31. Like, honestly, because I never think about it. It's just not top of my mind.
No, I constantly think about how old I am and how death is coming closer to me every second that passes. So no, I don't know what you mean.
Well, don't talk to Robert Reich. He might be like, you have a few good months in you left, Sam.
You know, he'll make my anxiety worse. Oh, jeez. No, I can't.
My memory for names is horrible. Did I write this article? I don't remember.
I think Kam, this article was selected as a polite way. It's time for you to retire from Spar and Brawl.
Seriously. Guardian is so low now that anyone can put like an inside job article. You submitted this. You work with the ACLU?
I contacted Robert Reich and ACLU. We actually had your original. ACLU said I could get sued, so I removed your name. But
yo, hold on, this is hilarious. I'm told that after the age of 60, one loses half an inch of height every 5 years. This doesn't appear to be a problem for Biden, but it presents a challenge for me. Considering that my apex, I didn't quite make it to 5 feet. If I live as long as my father did, I might vanish. So now it's just like about him, pretty much.
Yeah, and Frank, by the way, I'm very short, and I must say it's getting a bit on my nerve that being short is the only physical thing you're born with, and everybody is openly is mocks, and nobody talks about being black or being Asian or brown or whatever. Dude, Jesus Christ, man!
Being short isn't I mean, Al Pacino is
short. It's much more worse. Yeah, it's truly. I mean, the studies prove it's much more. What do you say? Telling of your class or whatever. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but why do you bring
sorry,
I fucking hate Robert Reich. He's making me so self-conscious. I just think about death and how short I am.
Man, maybe I should have read this whole article, but I don't think so. Here it's but I'm feeling more and more out of it. I'm doing videos on TikTok and Snapchat. Yet when my students refer to Ariana Grande or Selena Gomez or Jared Leto, I don't have a clue who they're talking about, and frankly don't care. But you have high expectations. Nobody wwants a 76-year-old to know Selena Gomez, and definitely Biden also. We don't care. Take it easy. He's like, I'm 80 and I can't do a 5K under 2 minutes. I'm like, nobody expects you.
Yeah. I can only do 15 push-ups at age 105. It's an embarrassment to my species. No, but I would say that has happened to me though. That have you noticed there's this young generation and they have all these celebrities online and they talk about them and they're usually acronym they don't have names. Did you hear TPZ talk about Tupuzus, GPZs?
That's called about being for a different generation. It has nothing to do with your mental capacity.
76. Yeah, it just happens every 5 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, look, man. Who's Santayana? Oh, this is good. This is good. Read that, Santayana.
I just saw that. Yeah, where was I can't command F because the Guardian doesn't. Okay, the last paragraph. Yeah, who is she though?
I think it's isn't it some Buddhist something? I think I don't know.
No, hold on, I can't command F on this Guardian article for some reason. Where's Santiana? Where does he mention who she is?
The last paragraph.
No, I know, but I want to know who she is. Is it his aunt? No. I swear because he talks.
No, I swear to God, it's a guru or something. It's not his aunt. What's it? Wait, let me check.
I'll tell you right now.
I swear to God, it's not an aunt. It's a guru or.
Oh yeah, he doesn't mention who he is. Okay, I guess everybody's supposed to know who Santiana is.
Yeah, it's a famous guru. Oh yeah, he's a bit. Oh my God, he's a bullshit artist. I thought he's an actual Indian. No, he's a bullshit artist.
So. I mean, does anybody at Guardian read at least these once? Anyway, Santiana said old people who have forebodings about the future. Foreboding, sorry. Santayana said old people have forebodings about the future because they cannot imagine a world that's good without themselves in it. I don't share that view. To the contrary, I think my generation, including Bill, Hillary, George Bush, Newt Gingrich, Clarence Thomas, Chuck Schumer, and Biden, have fucked it up royally. The world would probably be better without us. Joe, please don't run. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That was different.
No, not really.
Why wasn't that the headline of the article? I think that would have been a much better headline. I think my generation have fucked up royally. Colin, Joe, please don't run. And does the Guardian want to give me a job? I can edit from here and everything.
No, but to be honest, that's not the Guardian's, they prefer the current, I think, headline. But he's been against Democratic Party since Bill Clinton's second election. He was in Bill Clinton's first team.
But then he wasn't. No, but with Obama, he was boys.
Yeah, but he broke with Clinton over his second term because he said he sold out and stuff. So he's always been a bit of a middle ground person. So I wasn't too surprised, but I love when he lists his generation, Bill and Hillary Clinton, two pretty much killers. George W., another mass killer. Trump, a psychopath and a liar. Newt Gingrich, a weirdo and just the sexual perversion come to life. A rapist. Nancy Pelosi, corrupt as fuck and a drunk. Chuck Schumer, the most like possibly corrupt person in Senate, and he loves it, kind of like the head of the deep state of something. And Biden, a dead man, sort of like who used to work for insurance companies. So it's just, I don't know if it's your generation or these pack of fucking wolves.
No, that is so true. Yeah. And the next generation will be, the next generation in this world will be as crappy. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Pete Buttigieg, Tucker Carlson.
But yeah, I think you can redo this article with just the bottom paragraph and republish it.
That's the only substance.
This is how, I mean, you know, he's still hiding and putting this in the last paragraph, though. I mean, spineless, perhaps, if you ask me.
Yeah, and quoting Santayana, I knew he was a guru and stuff, but I didn't know he was one of these European.
Without saying who it is, Santayana, comma, world famous guru, comma, said old people. Yeah. I'm just telling you how that should have been.
Well, come on. He should have to like do 3 pages of introductions to Santayana.
Just what I said. How was that 3 pages?
He didn't even say that?
No, I put that. I just inserted that.
You're right. Sorry.
He just went with Santayana as if I'm not that cultured, but
you know, it's like me when I talk about the fictional books with you. You know, the famous Agatha Christie.
And the reason I said is that his aunt is because he mentioned his aunt
earlier.
Yeah, right here. My aunt, who lived far into her 90s, told me getting old isn't for sissies. Toward the end, she repeated that phrase every 2 to 3 minutes. All right, Sam, let's move on to our last article. What's this all about? Do you want to read a bit of it? Do you want me to read?
Sorry. So, this was a hugely important issue brought to my attention by finally Guardian doing some real journalistic work, for God's sake. So, do you know Miriam Margolyes, or I don't know how to pronounce her family name. Do you know her?
No.
She's a fantastic British actress, one of the funniest people ever. She's great on talk shows as well. She's so funny and she's so rude. Mm-hmm. She's been on so many of my favorite shows and everything, but she was also in a movie that I really loved as a kid, but nobody knows about, nobody talks about. End of Days. It's a movie, End of Days. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it and Gabriel Byrne, I don't know, the Irish guy, and it's about like
the lady,
she's in it she's a very small part, and it's such a good movie, man. I don't know why everybody hates it. It's Kevin Pollak is in it as well, who's quite funny. He's like a friend of Arnold, but it's one of the first Arnold movies that really did bad at box office. But it was quite a scary, and there's the devil and it's magic and all that. It's pretty good. And now, breaking news, Miriam Margolyes says that Arnold Schwarzenegger farted in her face during the production of that movie. So, I mean, don't laugh. It's a serious issue.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. What does she mean by in my face, though?
There's a scene. For some reason my internet is not goddamn opening this article. But there's a scene in the movie towards the end where she gets killed, and then Arnie is she says Arnie is sort of squatted. I think.
Yeah, I can read it.
Can you try? Mine is just opening up.
Yeah, he was actually quite rude. She said he farted in my face. Now I fart, of course I do, but I don't fart in people's faces. He did it deliberately, right in my face. I was playing Satan's sister and he was killing me. So he had me in a position where I couldn't escape and was lying on the floor, and he just farted. It wasn't on film. It was in one of the pauses, but I was forgiven him for it. No.
Too good.
And then look at this picture of young Arnold drinking coffee.
Yeah, that's in the movie. Yeah, that's from this movie. End of the. Well, I love how she's like, of course I fought, but I
this
don't
is
fart
the position.
So But then Guardian actually does fantastic journalistic work. So listen to this. The story, as brilliantly horrible as it is, looks set to reignite a one-sided feud that has rolled along for more than 2 decades. Margulies has been quick to express her dislike of Schwarzenegger thanks to their experience on End of Days. Back in 2016, she told the Guardian that he's a pig of a man and claimed that although he was relatively professional with me because he didn't fancy me, he was awfully gropey with women. And she has referenced the farting incident before, telling there's that I had my throat sliced by a glass table at the end of the film, and I remember Schwarzenegger farted right in my face when I was down on floor trying to move. I shouted, "Fuck you, Arnie." I was really cross.
Stop.
And by the way, this is a lady about this big, you know, and about like 60 years older than Arnold. So I can imagine, "Fuck you, Arnie." And Arnie is like a 3 times bigger tower. She's awesome. But this is, or it could, but okay, then they go on, but this is where it gets funny. But this time, the story has really started to pick up traction. The fart has been covered by publications as esteemed as Variety, who reached out to Schwarzenegger for a reaction. In parentheses, a reaction was not forthcoming, so Arnold didn't. There could be any number of reasons for this new interest. It could be because attitude towards male and female power dynamics in the movie industry have shifted considerably in the last 5 years.
And in the past 30 years, I mean, 40 years. This has been a while.
No, this is from 2000. The movie was from 2000.
Really? That recent?
Yeah. 1999, I think. Yeah. End of Days was. It's 23 years ago, man. It's not that recent, but man.
99.
Or it could be that Margulies herself is enjoying something of a renaissance, thanks to her habit of saying whatever happens to her to be on her mind at any given point. Her stories on Graham Norton show are legendary. The memoir she published last year cemented her reputation as a world-class storyteller, and she recently went viral on TikTok for saying England is a fucking shite at the moment. They're all cunt faces, and I hate it. So I love this one. Of course, a cynic might suggest that Margulies told a story about someone deliberately farting on her for a different reason. Now, the search engines are swamped with news outlets breathlessly reporting the Schwarzenegger fart, so much so that the searches for Miriam Margulies fart will throw up an impenetrable wall of Schwarzenegger fart reportage. But it wasn't always like this. Oh no. If you had performed the same search 2 days ago, you would have found video after video of Margulies farting. It's all a limited hangout project, man. She's trying to cover her, she's trying to overwhelm the search engines with fart stuff. There was the time she farted on the This Morning during an ad break, prompting a shoulder-shaking fit of laughter from Philip Schofield. There was the 2017 BBC 4 sitcom Bucket in which she farted during a yoga class. There was the time she farted on command during a cameo massage for the reasonable price of £141. Could the Schwarzenegger story be Margulies' attempt to quash her own fart videos with an easier fart story about someone she doesn't like? Unlikely. Instead, we just need to ask ourselves 2 questions. First, does Arnold Schwarzenegger look like the sort of person who would deliberately fart on someone's face? It's plausible. Second, should we protect Miriam Margulies with everything we have because she's such a relentlessly wonderful woman? So, based on nothing but hearsay and instinct, I choose to believe Margulies. So yeah, second that motion.
Funny.
And yeah, I love this article. This was a good article.
He had me in a position where I couldn't escape. I love that. That part is just so.
And you have to imagine her with such a beautifully articulate British accent saying all of this, which makes it so much more funnier. But yeah, I mean, I was just happy for her to be in headlines. She's one of the best. She's just awesome.
All right. That was pretty funny. Okay. All right. Well, great stuff. Thank you everybody for watching. Please leave your comments, criticism down below. We'll make sure to get to them. If not, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in our next video. Thank you.
You think you can get your wife back?
I'll see what day it is, man. Probably missed paying rent for 2 months.